Cast brought to you by StarCastTV. I am Nyoken, joined by Scan. This time it's going to be our last Ultimate Battle event, and we've got a Terran versus Protoss. It's going to be Rush versus Best. So Scan, what are your thoughts on this particular Ultimate Battle?
Well, I'm so excited to watch those two players playing each other because previously we have seen. Well, I'm not sure if you guys have watched the ASL 12 wildcard. Rush beat Best 2-0, I believe. Didn't he? Well, I can't
Uh,
really exactly remember, but he was pretty much beating Best 2-0, like absolutely beast using his dropship, sometimes also playing standard. Uh, it was pretty much absolutely dominant play style, a dominant play by Rush. So I'm excited to how well Best is going to be performing against Rush this time.
yeah, this should be a good matchup because, of course, Rush, one of the best players right now. For the Terran race. Then, of course, Best is one of the best Protoss players right now. Unfortunately, his ASL run got cut short. He didn't play the greatest, and his group got eliminated. But he is known for his Protoss versus Terran. Everybody knows that he's got some of the best macro that Protoss players have ever seen in history. But
Mm-hmm.
what a lot of people don't know, I think, is that actually Best is one of the innovators for Protoss. I remember watching uh, he was one of the first few players to use Maelstrom versus Zerg a couple years ago. I remember watching his stream where he was experimenting with Disruption Web versus Terran. So he's not just all about macro, he's got a lot of innovative strategies that we might see in this particular Ultimate Battle.
Mm-hmm. And we also going to be looking at this map pool. 7 maps are chosen by the ASL 12, and the other 2 maps will be selected by the 2 players, also banning 1 map each. We see Best picking Gladiator, and Rush will be picking In the Way on I cannot read it properly today. In the Way of an Eddy.
Yeah, so no surprise to see Gladiator picked by Best. Gladiator, one of the biggest macro maps that I think we've ever seen. And then In the Way of an Eddy, as a Terran player, I really like that map. I think it's pretty easy to get 3 or 4 bases, and you have high ground on certain areas, really easy to push. And then, of course, we've got our ASL maps. So, with that said, I think we're ready to get into Game 1. So, let's do that. Get into Game 1 of our last Ultimate Battle, Rush versus Best. Okay, so in the top left on Revolver, it is none other than Best. And in the purple, representing the Terran squad, we've got Rush, aka Yamtooth.
So this is a vertical matchup, and I would say people who haven't played this new ladder map, it's called Revolver. This is kind of like somewhat reminds me of Circuit Breakers because the rush distance, whenever it's a vertical matchup, it's so close to each other that you can also go for the cheese. Also the horizontal matchup, it doesn't as far as the Circuit Breaker is the horizontal matchup, but it's still playable for Terran and go for the cheese. But we have seen JYJ has gone for the cheese rush, the somewhat weird cheese against Mini, but it seemed like it didn't work out so well. But let's see what Rush has prepared for this matchup.
Yeah, let's see what Rush has in store for Best. As I mentioned, I think last time on the ASL cast, when I've been playing ladder, I've been running into 12 Nexus almost every game. So I want to see if Best is going to go for that and what Rush's response is going to be. For now, don't see any probe movement down to that pylon, so this might actually be the 12 Nexus. He's got the probes queued. That's exactly what we're going to see is some 12 Nexus shenanigans.
And we see Rush so far playing standard, main base barracks, and whenever Terran is going for the main base barracks, you don't usually go for gases expand. And we see this is a 11 refinery, so whenever Terran goes for the 11 refinery, they get the factory much quicker than usual, the regular standard build order. And with 11 refinery, you kind of want to execute whenever product is always gonna go for the 12 nexus, and you always want to kill that base.
Yes, exactly. 11 gas is designed to kill that 12 Nexus. If you go for 11 gas and you see 12 Nexus and you don't go for the kill, it's kind of conflicting with your game plan. So we know that this is definitely going to be an SCV pull, and Rush is going to be very thankful that he scouts this first. Now, what is best response going to be? It should be a 2-gate. We'll see if he wants to be greedy here. I doubt it. Now, but what I was thinking about Revolver is it has that high ground. You think we might see a shield battery sitting over that ramp? It seems like
Well,
this is a hard map to actually deny a 12 Nexus.
well, remember when you were talking about the Nexus first? Like, instead of building the second pylon at the main base,
Yeah.
why not just putting down the second pylon at the natural and build the shield better? That also could be an option. I faced that before. I saw Sins, Hani were doing it. The Hani as a Protoss player, some people might be confused with the Hani with the Terran player. That they're just pretty much playing around with the IDs. But Hani, the Terran one, is actually so-so. So just call him so-so. And Hani's the Protoss one guy, and they both like to put the second pylon at the natural, and whenever Terran goes for the cheese, they like to put the pylon. But this game looks like I think Best is not interested of putting down the pylon at the natural this time.
Well, this is not completely standard follow-up to the 12 Nexus because we are still on 1 gate. He's gone for double Zealot. We do see players alternate that pylon position. Best is one of them to put it in the main, but I am surprised that there's no second gate, and he's continuing to build probes. So this Protoss is trying to get away with absolute murder, and if he does, he is going to be in a phenomenal position. But here comes the SCV pull, and 5 Marines and 1 Vulture. That is a lot of SCVs.
That is definitely a lot of SCP. So including that scouting SCV that's still alive. Okay, that 2 zealots are still buying some time. Okay, losing all of the zealot shield is not that great for Best here, but these SCV is actually climbing up to the main base.
Yeah, okay, they're going completely all in, and I thought he might have caught that Goon, but the Goon is one of the most slippery units that the Protoss has. Now let's see if he can actually kill some probes on the ramp, because, as I mentioned, this is a lot of SCVs pulled. I actually think he has to do more damage than just killing the Nexus. He's losing a lot of SCVs, man!
Yeah, those probe drill with those ramp X are pretty much helping that probes to stack to each other and pretty much doing all this damage to those Marines so well. And the worker count, it doesn't seem that great for Terran, I would say.
Yeah, now luckily for Terran, Goon range is not close to being finished, so he's still able to do a lot of damage with these Marines and Vultures. But remember, Vulture's not the highest DPS once the shields are gone, but as I say that, one of the Goons fall. However, the probe control is really immaculate, but you can't let that bunker up, man!
Well, he seems desperate to get this Marine, but yes, getting the Marine is so nice for Rush, nice for Best that he's not gonna be letting those Marines inside of the bunker, so that's a good sign.
Yep, this was a great hold from Best. This is like 4 or 5 more SCVs than you normally pull. Usually you see around like 7. So to hold 11 SCVs and faster Vulture with just 1 gate is incredible. And now range has kicked in, so see ya bunker. And this Nexus I don't even think is going to die. So Rush is massively behind. Wow, that Goon actually dies. I can't believe that.
Well, somehow the 2 Vultures will sneak in, sniping 1 or 2 more probes before it dies. Okay, I guess the bunker is still getting focus targeted. I think he might be able to get this Nexus. He's just pretty much focusing on the Nexus. SCV is also drilling, but that's an interesting move.
Okay, so he gets the Nexus. However, look at the workers. It's 20 to 16. You also have to remember that Protoss's range has kicked in. He's got his robo-coing, so everything's fine for him. Meanwhile, because Rush pulled so many SCVs and lost nearly all of them, Protoss can already restart their Nexus, and Terran has Terran has now just started their command center. So I guess the NAT timings are somewhat similar. However, tech advantage big time in favor of Protoss.
Yeah, we see Best is feeling comfortable. He's not making he's not making too much of a Goons because he knows obviously Terran cannot afford to make a siege tank. He knows Rush is most likely gonna go for Spider Mine research into pretty much playing passive. here, and he will be rotating 2 vultures to the top side here. And looks like Best is not making much of a guns here.
Yeah, I like this move from Protoss. Just gonna play passive, as you mentioned. He saw the amount of vultures. He knows that this is gonna be mine follow-up. No need to really do anything. And Rush is waiting for Protoss to move out with those vultures that don't have any more mines, so he can go for a backstab. So this is perfect move. Now I see Starport from Rush, which is, I'd have to say, kind of an all-in-ish move. He's behind now, so this either works or it puts him severely behind. I don't even know if he can recover. But we've got 6 goons moving across the map, and unfortunately, Rush just built pure vultures, and, well, goons can just beat vultures in mines.
Yeah, this is a high ground spider mines, trying to buy some time, but not gonna be useful because of 3 goons with a single observer pretty much showing all those spider mines where they are located at. Sniping all those spider mines, and 1 bunker is trying to finish making the bunker, but I'm not sure whether he can do it. But here's the vulture run in inside of 1 base, killing 1 probe or maybe 2.
Yep, and this is exactly what I was saying, waiting for the goons to move out so he can move in with the vulture. But the 4 goons took down so many vultures at the entrance, took down a marine. Now just being annoying outside of this. Now he can't trigger that mine on the right side. He's gonna lose 2 goons, actually, not even just 1. And 1 tank and 1 vulture should be able to clean this up, or could have cleaned it up potentially, but Best is going to back off. Now we can see the worker count has actually been, the gap has been closed. It's 27 probes to 26 SCVs, but Reaver is coming out.
Yeah, the Reaver is coming out with the speed shuttle before taking the 3rd expansion. Normally, if you watch how Snow usually plays, he kind of likes to get the speed shuttle after taking his 3rd expansion, but I guess Best likes to go for speed shuttle first before taking the 3rd nexus. And we see, looks like he's about to go for the bust here, because when we look at the supply count, the worker count is about the same, but we can see he's leading with the supply count. That means he has more army value than Rush, and we know Rush was making a dropship earlier, also Wraith too. So here's a dropship right now at the mid right.
Well, this is gonna get weird. If Rush can hold this attack, the vulture drop might be able to deal enough damage to get him back in this game. That Reaver moved a little bit far forward. Oh, hits a bunch of SCVs, and that means that this bunker is going to fall. That's another great hit. SCVs dying left and right. Vulture drop into the main, though. Here's that Wraith, but Wraith is so fragile, I don't think it's going to be enough to be able to push back this shuttle. Goon's getting on top of the tanks, too. This is make or break for Rush, and it just seems like he doesn't have enough.
Yeah, but somehow he reduced the amount of guns. Only a single Dragoon remaining with a single Reaver as well, but only a single factory production. Oh, another SCV die.
It's unfortunate that, well, it's fortunate for you Best fans, but like that vulture drop did a lot of damage. It's still even workers. The thing is that there's just nothing to kill the Reaver. SCVs wanted to fight, and that is not what you want to see. And GG comes out, and Best, he's gonna take game 1.
Wow, so that was a somewhat like counterattack by each other so many times, like so many different times we have seen like vulture run by and also defending his natural, and on another trade like counterattack by each other, like going for the Reaver Dragoon bust and also going for 2 vulture drop. And I feel like Rush made too many vultures in the early stage of the game, like since he has been losing all those vultures every single time whenever he was trying to buy some time. And he was somewhat stubborn to use the dropship as well to do some damage, like for the harassment, and that probably lead him to have so less tank account.
Yeah, at the very end where we saw the last tank pop out, I think if Rush had that during the Goon Reaver attack, he may have actually held, and the game was going to get wild because the vultures again evened up the probe count, so it would have been a really close game afterwards. Those are the types of games that I like, because when you win or lose there, you either completely outplayed the opponent or you got outplayed. So it's a real test of your multitask. So regardless, Rush falls there, but it was a nice game, especially after the opener. Now we're going to be getting into game 2, and YamTube, he's already decided that he wants to get into a non-ASL map. Ooh. It's going to be Into the Way of an Eddy.
Well, that's gonna be an interesting match because we haven't seen this in the way of an Eddie map for like how many years? Maybe 2-3 years. When was the last time people used this map? Like KSL time?
Yeah, I think it was KSL. Yeah, I mean, I love this map. I think it's a great map for Terran in particular.
Oh,
You can
is
get
it?
3 bases. Yeah, you can get 3 bases pretty easily. Well, let's see if we get there. Well, let's get into game 2. In the way of an Eddy is our map Best Up 1-0. Okay, our Terran in the green, in the top right. It is Rush. And then some nice multitask last game and great hold. It is Best. But yeah, in the way of an Eddy, I love this map. As long as you played that Goliath opener and you didn't get busted at the front of your natural, I mean, you can get a third base pretty easily. It has a third gas, you can wall it off. And you have high ground overlooking everything. I mean, to me, that's a fantastic Terran map. But it seems like you've got other ideas about this map.
Well, I'm afraid of those. It's kind of like reminds me of Eclipse, where third expansion seems so far away from the natural that you have to bring a lot of army and also build lots of missile turret. And feels like Protoss might have the advantage for the busting the natural whenever Terran ever takes the third expansion. So that was my thought.
Yeah, it could be the case nowadays, but back then I never faced bus. I never faced the mass shuttle man style. I mean, yeah, you could be right. Now that Protoss has kind of changed how they play, this could be a bit difficult. We'll see if Rush ends up playing for the style that I like, which was the Tank Goliath opener, and we'll see if Best wants to go for some type of bus play. This time around, I see that we've got just a standard gateway opener in Best main, and so far, everything's standard for Rush also.
Yeah, this time Best is not gonna do a gateway scout. Normally, when Protoss is doing the gateway scout, you usually kind of expect to see him making a single Zealot or maybe 2 Zealot before Dragoon. So Best is immediately going for the simulator. That means he's probably most likely going to play a standard opening, the classic standard with pure Grim style. And we see Rush is gonna go for a scout at 13 here. Is he gonna go to the bottom? Yes, he will.
Yep, standard scout pattern from Rush, and this time around it was a 12 or between a 12 and a 13 gas for Rush, so no 11 gas this time. This was another common 12 Nexus map, so I wouldn't have been surprised to see Best go for it again, but this time around he's decided that he does not want to go into that.
So far, no factory still for Yam2, Rush, and finally he put out an SCV. About to put the factory at 17. Here it is. And he also gets to get all this intel what Best is exactly doing. Gun production on the way, still no gun range. Not enough money.
Yep, and we can see, okay, there is the range. We can see that Best was still mining with 3 on gas, so he's not trying to rush out his Nexus. We'll see how many goons he wants to build before taking that Nexus. More than likely, it's probably just going to be 2 or so. Meanwhile, 3 on gas for Terran. And I was going to ask this, actually I've been seeing more 2 factories from Terran, and okay, probe gets denied. That's crucial if you're going to go for a 2-fact play.
Yeah, that was dangerous. That probe could have gotten inside of a base and see the second factory, but I guess he did not want to lose the probe.
Yeah, he didn't want to risk it. I mean, it's so common to just see a command center. Like, what exactly are you looking for versus a Terran? This time around, we see that it is a 2-fact. What is the reason for more 2-facts these days?
Well, I think it's because of a not best of 9 now. Total 9 games that both of the players have to play. Like, it's so long. You know how long it takes to win a single game as a Terran? Like, you gotta play at least 20 minutes to 30 minutes long to beat Protoss all the time. And if you play all standard every single game for all 9 games, you pretty much get exhausted. So I might be able to understand, or I can actually understand why Rush decided to go for 1 base 2 factory over here. like doing some mind game. Hey, I'm not gonna be playing standard this time. I'll be doing one base bust.
Yeah, that is true. So we'll see if it will be successful. My opinion is 2-fact is hard to make work because of builds that we're seeing from Best right here. It's going to be 2-gate robo follow-up. Luckily for Rush, I actually like this map for the 2-fact because we see that the goons are way far back. And if Terran can get close to the natural, not only are they going to bust the natural, of course, but they can overlook that ramp, and he may actually be able to knock down that robo or gateway potentially. So this could be a successful 2-fact. We'll see how Rush wants to use it. Okay, he's going to wait for 2 tanks. He's got siege mode coming, and he's meanwhile building some mines or some vultures out of that single or that second factory that has no add-on. And here we go.
Something that I noticed from Best side, he has been cutting a lot of goon production. Like he was going for the 21 Nexus. Nowadays, no one really actually goes for 21 Nexus. They kind of usually go for 2 goon into 23 Nexus, and also making 3rd goon with the 25 robo follow-up and cutting some pro production. But he was cutting so much of a gateway production for a long time, and this is gonna be a hard time for Best to defend with just pure 4 goon.
Well, this is almost unstoppable, and it's hard for me to feel bad for Best here because he also skipped Observer, and that's going to be a dead Nexus with Siege Mode, and you can bunker here. So Best, unless he unloads like instantly and gets some type of mind drag on these tanks, this looks impossible to hold, and this is the scenario I was talking about. He's in range of that robo. If he pops the robo before Observer comes out, that's it.
Yeah, he does get the Observer, but the support bait just got finished, but he can't actually make a Reaper. So now there's a high ground bunker being made. The Nexus is also getting busted, and Rush is playing so well this game. And he also, look at this, he already put down all the spider mines.
Yeah, this is genius play from Rush saying, hey, I know it's your common move here is to elevator units out. And look at this. Rush, as soon as he knows units are moving out of position, he just continues to push forward because that means there's goons that can't help you now. And he's already within range of the gates. He's about to be within range of the Nexus, and all Best can do is go for a counterattack, but it's just 4 goons. And look at this. Actually, there's no Observer in his main anymore because he sent it for this counterattack. So mines are going to do a ton of damage here.
Yeah, they are already a single siege tank with another tank which should be popping out soon momentarily. And with this 2 siege tanks should be more than enough to defend, I would say. The siege mode is ready. The 4 vultures are a little bit out of position, but at the same time, looks like the main is just pretty much getting destroyed. That steps out. That was an excellent mind game by Rush.
Yeah, excellent play from Rush right there, taking advantage of how Protoss players, play in the early game, and then also advantage of the map. High ground on the Nat, overlooking the main scenario that I talked about, played out completely as expected, and Rush easily takes game 2. And now we're going to get into everybody's favorite ASL map. We got Lemon coming, and we recently saw a game between Royal and Mini, and that was a pretty cool game.
Royal versus Mini on
Lemon, yeah.
On Lemon, that was an excellent game. Like no matter how far Royal was behind, like he was able to keep up the supply so well. And if I try to remember correctly, he had a lot of SCP as well. Like he had that macro power going up, but the one moment where he wanted to take his 3rd base, like he was trying to move out from his natural to the center line, like he didn't have any spider mines that time, and just pretty much Mini crushed all those army and reduced the amount of siege tank count. And I think that was a bad scenario by Royal, I would say.
Yeah, it was tough for Royal. It seems like it's quite hard to get a 4th base on here because the 3rd is so far. But let's get into game 3. It's going to be on Lemon between Best and Rush. Okay, cross spawns. This time we've got Rush in the bottom right. And then in the top left are Protoss, Mr. Best. So yeah, I was thinking about the Lemon game of Mini versus Royal the past couple days actually, and I mean, man, you got to go so far to get that third base. It feels like this is one of those maps where whoever can just backstab and multitask more efficiently is going to get the win, because the fourth is just so far to try and defend both the third and fourth base. It feels impossible, actually.
Well, it is definitely hard for Terran to take the fourth expansion, but if we try to remember how the map is designed, this is a 4-player map, but Protoss cannot take another spawning location. So whenever Protoss is taking his third base, the fourth expansion is obviously going to be either 12, 3, 6, 9, and obviously they're not going to be interested of taking the other spawning location on the natural, because that's only 6 minerals. Why would you take the 6 minerals? So at the same time, I think it's gonna be easy to take it for Terran as well, especially in a late game, and going for super fast or 2-1 upgrade or maybe 3-2 upgrade for the late game transition. But we see
It's 12 Nexus, man.
again 12 Nexus.
They love those 12 Nexus builds.
Maybe I can
Yeah.
understand why a lot of the ladder Protoss people are playing this 12 Nexus all the time, because best and mini, they're
Yeah.
playing 12 Nexus all the time.
Yeah, if you're ever wondering, like, okay, why are people on ladder doing a specific build? That's always the case. It's just the pros have just decided that this is the way to play these days. And I was actually expecting to see potentially gasless expand this time, but not the case. This is just going to be a standard 12 or 13 gas for rush. Now, meanwhile, we've got the cross scout, and as you guys watching can see, lack of vision through the center of the map is just how the tile set is set up on Lemon, similar to not Outsider, Whiteout, if you guys have played that map. Cool scenario, because we saw Mini versus Royal were both proxied in the center of the map, and neither player knew it. So you can have some wild games on here, but Rush, he's not going to get the first scout off, and that means that this 12 Nexus might go unpunished.
So we see once again a 17 factory opening by Rush, and this 12 Nexus is so lucky. I wonder if Rush is gonna be doing the end scout or whether he's gonna be doing all the way to 11 o'clock scout. But looks like this is a end scout by Rush after checking the center. So now this is not gonna be a great luck for Rush, and he's gonna be letting a single probe, not letting in with the second marine. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, and if we had cameras for Rush when he actually finds this 12 Nexus, he would not be happy, because this is going to be another greedy 12 Nexus from Best. It's just a single gateway. At least he's building a couple Zealots. It's going to be 2, but he shot up in worker count quite a lot in the first game on Revolver, and that's going to give him a great economic lead going into the mid game, of course. And here comes that first Zealot, actually. I guess he's trying to act like he opened normally and put on some pressure.
I'm trying to understand why Rush decided to put down the third depot. I mean, there are only total 9 mineral fields that you're right now mining, and this third depot is delaying Rush's natural expansion timing, because he's not even getting the vulture out, so only a 3 marine. But with that scouting SCV intel, he gets to see, oh, it's a Nexus first. He can't do anything because the vulture production was so late because he was adding the add-on, and the add-on takes like what, 25 seconds?
Yeah, so he's not going to be able to damage the Nexus, but he will be able to get his upgrades a bit faster. This time around, he's going to opt into speed. Generally, the default follow-up is going to go for mines, give you a bit of map control, so Rush going to mix it up a little bit. I mean, he's one of the Terran players that I have seen mix it up when he does go for, or when he does run into 12 Nexus like this. So Protoss is going to have to be careful, because speed is going to kick in pretty quickly. It's like maybe a minute or so from now. But here comes the Zealot going to try and take down these Marines.
So I like this move, like the scouting pro got picked up by the single vulture, so he knows he can actually shove in one of the Zealot, and he knows it's just a cross spawn, and he also knows it is not going to be any sort of a like one group of like 12 SCB pull and into going for the cheese rush. Not going to be happen, but we see vulture speed on the way with about to take another expansion by
Holy
Rush.
Jeez. Yeah, that looks like it's going to be third command center. And this was impeccable timing from Best right there to get up those double pylon. He knew exactly when potentially speed could kick in, and that was fantastic hold from him because those vultures would have gotten in and dealt a lot of damage. Now, I have to say, this might be the greediest reaction I've ever seen to a 12 Nexus. It'd be different if you have mines, because at least mines can buy time, but Protoss could literally walk across the map with goons. Now, of course, we know there are no mines out. Protoss doesn't know this, so Protoss is just expecting there to be mines, and he's not going for that. However, this is insanely greedy.
I like this move by
Whoa.
Rush because, I mean, whenever you show the speed vulture to opponent, as Protoss, you kind of have to expect about the vulture drop for the next combo. And that's pretty much gonna be forcing Best to play passive. And look at this, he's about to expect about the 4 vulture drop at his main base or something like that. So he's putting all those gun setup at the main base and some edge of his main bases, putting some pylon for more vision. And he's also adding more gateway with the Starport on the left side, Stargate on the left side.
Yeah, so this is where you get into high-level mind games. I know that you know that I'm going to go for Starport, so I'm not going to go for Starport. And Eliminate looks to be like one of the good maps for drops because the natural, I mean, it's completely wide open for drops. So this third command center goes unpunished because Rush knows how Best is going to read the game scenario. But we actually see behind this that this is going to be carriers. I was not expecting to see this from Best at all.
And also the cybernetic score, it's already has been spinning for maybe like more than 2 minutes by now. I don't know how long it takes, maybe 162 seconds or so for the +1 attack, all the upgrade, and it's already 50% done, more than 50% done. So that +2 carry is going to be really fast, but with the single observer now, Best is getting some intel. He's about to check, like, hey, why no dropship? So I'll be checking your third expansion, and he does get to see there's a third command center.
Yeah, so Best is going to be feeling, well, I don't know how he's going to be feeling, honestly, because Terran got a third base, and Limit is a new map that has double gas at the third base. So this is quad gas pretty soon for Terran, and Terran has a good SCV count. Like, look at it. It caught up, actually. He's even ahead in workers. So Protoss needs to do something about this. However, carriers are coming out. I didn't see an armory just yet, so that's a little bit worrisome for Terran. And there it is. It just a double armory. Okay, so he's going to rush 1-1 upgrades.
So because of having that third base so early, and look at, I really like this about SimCity when the siege tank position. Okay, this 4 Marines will be focus targeting on the single shuttle with the missile turret also supporting right next to it. So that was an excellent, and also there's a high ground siege tank buying some time. These, ooh, I didn't expect that SCV can actually go to the top side. So that means that can also sneak in.
Yeah, but luckily for Rush, this is not Gateway Man where it's like 8 or 9 gate and it's going to be flooding his third base anytime soon. It is just 4 gate with carriers. So just having the depot wall, whether there's gaps or not, is going to be fine. I also like how Rush managed his depots. Like, you don't see him at 95 supply out of 150 or something. Like, he's pretty much used the exact amount of depots that he needs. Unlike, for example, here, Best, he's at 100 supply out of 146. There are games where Protoss players lose simply because they overbuilt pylons. Now, this Wraith has already dealt 100 damage to a single carrier. It's gonna knock down almost all the shields.
So that was an interesting move because we know Rush was not getting the Comsat station in the early stages of the game because he wanted to play as greedy as much as he can, and he pretty much worked on an SCV production the whole time, and now he has been rushing all the double armory for the double upgrade. And I still don't see any academy. I'm trying to look for the academy, but I don't see the academy. Immediately adding up all those factory count for Rush because he knows the carrier is already out. He needs to get prepared for the timing attack soon.
Yeah, and because he has that quadruple gas, he can afford something like 10, maybe 11 factories on 3 bases, and he can pump out a lot of tanks and Goliaths. So he's going to be moving out pretty soon, and the first thing I noticed with this build was the SCV count. I mean, he's at 62. He just built an additional SCV, but since 925, he hadn't built an additional SCV at all. So he really hit his SCV timing perfectly. and he's going to max out extremely quickly. I think Bess is in trouble, actually. He may have 4 carriers out, but I don't see Citadel. I don't see Templar Archive. Okay, I hear a Vulture drop. There we go. In the main, we're going to start taking down some probes at the natural.
Picking up some decent amount of probe, that's definitely nice. And whenever you're staying on this 3 base with the massive amount of factory count, these 4 vultures like sacrificing to pick up some probe is actually great for Terran, because you kind of want to ruin Protoss's optimization, like the worker count, and like also forcing opponent to build additional cannon and each expansion. And we finally get to see there are 4 carriers are out, and we also know the +2 is about to be finished for the carrier upgrade.
Well, +2 is going to be a huge breakpoint for Protoss. I did see that those Zealots did have speed, which makes me think Protoss want to attack. Oh, he doesn't have speed. It looks like Protoss wants to attack though, but supplies are even, and we know how that goes for Terran generally. That means that they're going to win the fight. However, 4 carriers are going to be hard to deal with, but a lot of turrets everywhere, and that is a lot of Goliaths. And because this is 4 gas, I mean, he's got a lot of tanks too.
Yeah, just a pure Goliath tank. I'm not sure whether this is a good move, but I think he's trying his best to... Oh, is he trying to surround that carrier? He finally gets to find out where the Gun Zealots are, but he knows the Gun Zealots are pretty much running away to the top, the bottom middle. I'm not sure whether this is a good move to go for the counterattack, because the factory is kind of vulnerable. Like, these carriers pretty much can take down a single factory one by one, and now the eBay is about to fall.
Whoa, I'm actually surprised Best is turning around to try and deal with this counterattack. He's not going to try and bust down the factories like you said. And Rush, oh my gosh, he is just pushing ASAP. He knows that all the carriers and ground are out of position, and he's already on Protoss's doorstep. However, he's not able to reinforce because of all of the Protoss units in the center of the map. This might have been an overextension from him. Let's see how this goes. 4 carriers through the back. Here come Zealots. Here come those goons from the backside too. Remember, there's no Vulture support, so those Zealots are going to get on top of these Goliaths easily. And I think this was a massive overextension.
Yeah, these 4 carriers already have that +2 attack, and now, I mean, these interceptors are pretty much messing up the Goliath AI. Oh, carriers are not microing. Okay, so he will lose 1 single carrier, but that's a good sign for Rush. But I mean, all those tanks that he just had in the mid game, he just lost everything. He just losing all his army composition here, and it doesn't look that great right now.
Yeah, and now this is going to be a big amount of goons and zealots comboed with 5 carriers, and again, there's not a single vulture, and I think this might just be it. I mean, Rush has amazing factory count, but his comp just does not build. Just does not beat this army. The Zealots chew through the Goliaths, chew through the tanks, and this is probably it.
Yeah, I really cannot understand why Rush didn't make a single vulture after the vulture drop. Like, he just literally has gone for a pure Goliath tank against someone who already has a speed zealot. I mean, how are you gonna be fighting against that Gun Zealot with carrier? Like, your Goliath AI is gonna be so dumb in that fight, and you don't have any sort of vulture support killing the Zealot.
Yeah, it's a bit sad how that game unfolded, because Rush's opener, I mean, that's as good as it's gonna get. Like, it was fantastic, great mind game overall. But the follow-up, I mean, that attack, you just look at it and you're just like, what, man? Like, what was that? I mean, that's something you learn playing on the ladder over and over, is you can't attack with no vultures, even if they have carriers. It's a big mistake there, and it cost Rush the game when he was in a pretty darn good position. Oh, and remember, Scan, like, Terran didn't even rush upgrades. Like, he didn't even have the powerful +2. He was only at 1-1, so it was just a big mistake all around.
I think upgrade is not a huge deal, because we know that the carry count wasn't too high. It was only 4 carrier, and he was absolutely ahead with the worker count, and he was also catching up with the supply count as well. So, you know, the Goliath takes a longer time to make from the factory, and
Yeah.
if we reduce the amount of gold light and make all those like exchange for all vulture, I'm pretty sure he would have like 30 or 40 more supply than Best at that moment where he was moving out, and he could have probably crushed those 6 o'clock, the bottom middle of a Gunzala, like about two to three groups of an army was sitting there. He could have crushed it before he moves out.
Yeah, so just a little bit of a blunder from Rush there, but we're going to be going into Game 4 in just a second. Fourth map, we're going to have another ASL map. It is going to be Good Night.
So Good Night is chosen by Rush.
Yep, so we'll see what he's got planned on here. I like this map for Terran. Let's get into Game 4. Best is up 2-1 so far. Okay, again, another cross pawn position in the top left. We have Best. And then, of course, that means in the bottom right, our Terran, it is Rush. So we already saw some interesting builds. We saw 11 gas from Terran. We saw 2 fact. We saw triple command center versus a 12 Nexus. Now I actually want to see Rush be the one to go for 14 CC or gasless. But how does that play out here on Good Night? Is that a good build for this map?
If Protoss ever doesn't go for super early scout, then yes, definitely great for going for 14 CC. Like people who like, or maybe like how Best was playing from game number 2 on in the way of an Eddie, where he was gonna go for pure gun into an expansion and also not a super fast scout. That kind of game scenario, 14 CC is definitely great. But I don't think Best might not be interested of going for the regular standard gun into expansion, because he has been winning with all those 12 nexus and some kind of a weird strategy. But okay, gateway.
Yep, is just going to be standard opener. Now I've got my eyes locked on Mr. Yamtube. What's that SCV going to do? Okay, it is just going to be the barracks, but of course I was hoping we might see a greedy opener from him. Of course, this still could be some type of gasless expand. We see that Best. Okay, I thought he might be going for the gasless expand himself, but not going to be the case. And we are back to another... Oh, actually I thought this was an 11 gas, but it is just another typical 12 gas.
Yeah, 12 gas into a 13 scout. Previously, if we have watched like 2 years ago, Terran vs Protoss, a lot of Terran players used to do the 12 scout into 13 refinery, but nowadays people decided to the reverse, like 12 refinery into 13 scout. I don't know what this is about, but people just do this for some reason, and yeah, I just do it because pros are doing it. So whenever pros are doing it, there's always a reason behind, and they will never explain the reason behind. So if they just do it, just do it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, what's the reason for that? Because I am one of those players that does the 12 scout, 13 gas, so maybe I'll start doing it reversed. I really do like to find out what Protoss is up to, and I don't think there's a big difference between 12 scout versus 13 scout. I mean, it's slight. You can notice it, but I do prefer the faster scout. So we do see, again, we've got another in scout. We know what the reasoning for the in scout is. It is to make a determination on whether he's going to pull for a 12 Nexus. But this is going to be a fake. And that means that we may have Proxy Citadel or something. And we saw this just the other day in ASL. Oh, can't lose that probe, though. Okay, so never mind. He's not going to do that.
Yeah, he canceled that the range upgrade into going for the super fast 21 Nexus. That's an interesting move.
Yeah, but you can see that Best, I think, had plans to go for some hidden tech, because look how much gas he has. I mean, that's not exactly the amount of gas you want to have when you're going for a fast Nexus like this. However, because Terran didn't get the scout, and actually that SCV I think is going to die, man, Rush is in big time trouble. He's in the dark, but he ended up going into a 3 Marine expand.
So 3 Marine into an expansion with the machine shot follow-up. And this time, same strategy with the add-on, but this time it's getting a spider mine research on the way. I might be able to understand why Rush decided to do this, because it's gonna be a crossbow matchup most likely, and he knew goons can't really leave their base. Even if the goons leave their base, this is also high ground marine, and high ground marine also has all the advantage fighting against the goon. And here's a probe once again coming.
Ooh. Bit unlucky there for Best to miss the... Okay, the Vulture's going to come back and kill it. And yeah, as you mentioned, with it being cross-spawn, and with the fact that the Goon spent a bunch of time trying to kill that SCV, to move across the map blindly, a Vulture could sneak in. It's one of the moves that I like to make the most, because it's kind of a test on these Protoss players. Like, hey man, you got to respect at least a little bit for the potential of a counterattack. So you can see, again, Best is just holding back with these Goons. And that's going to give map control to Rush in the early game. And look at that armory. That is an armory that is done at 5 minutes. So this was a 4-10 armory. That means that this is going to be an 11-minute +2, potentially. So we may actually have like a 14-40, 15-minute 3-2 max timing coming out for Rush.
This is definitely super fast upgrade what we are right now seeing. And also Academy follow-up, and I'm not sure how many Vultures he has made. Let's see, about 2 Vultures. So he made about 2 Vultures and having all this map intel. And now Best needs to be careful, because he knows the Vultures are out on the map, and also put down the spider mine, so he cannot actually move out until the Observer comes out. But the next thing that he also needs to be worried about is the drop. And he's definitely aware of the drop play, putting all those pylon edge up his main base and getting all those vision. So that's looking great. And we see Best is gonna get the second gas really fast. 5-minute or 6-minute mark here.
Yeah, fast gas. Remember, he mined a lot of gas in the early stages, so I think we might actually see carriers again, potentially. We'll see what he wants to use this gas for. But yeah, the gas timing is pretty darn quick. And as you mentioned, I think that is a big building at the bottom left of Protoss's base, and that is a Stargate. So again, we're going to see some carrier play. But yeah, those Goons were in position for the drops. We saw how effective they were in the first couple games. So definitely being careful here. Now that rushing the Academy is going to be amazing for Rush, because he should be able to scan this pretty quickly, I think. Oh, where did he see? He heard it go off, and he sees the main, and he sees the cybernetic spinning.
And now he also gets to see at the last moment the probe was going to the bottom side, so that has to be meaning something. But we see Rush is not adding a starport.
Right, he does scan and see that this is going to be 2 Stargate carrier. And yeah, as you mentioned, no starport follow. Oh, actually, that might have been a starport at the top of his gas right now. Nope, it is going to be a factory flood. Now, I see a lot of Terran players do this. But remember, Rush went for super fast +1. Do you think this is the move to make, or should he have gone into +2?
Well, I've been playing against a lot of carriers recently, and if you're like this kind of game scenario where you have gotten this armory at 5-minute mark and rushing for 11-minute 2-1 upgrade playstyle, even if Protoss is playing 2 base carrier, I kind of highly recommend to go for 2 base 2-1 upgrade. Like, you know, back then where Flash was innovating about the 2-1 upgrade. 2-1 upgrade at with the 2 base mining.
With the 7 fact, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, well, we'll see how this works out for Rush, because this is not 2-1. This is just going to be a 1-1 timing, which is effective because the carrier count is going to be so low. But of course, as I've mentioned many times, +2 is really the go-to upgrade versus Protoss. Now, this is going to be a small counterattack from Protoss trying to buy time. 5 tanks, a decent amount of Vultures, and Terran will win this fight in a straight-up fight. Okay, high ground advantage.
Yeah, the tank count is really high. Just 6 tank versus 12, 6 gun. I mean, this is looking great. Like, he only sacrificed the vultures and to eat up all those gun, but I guess he's just gonna leave that 4 gun left over and go for the counter attack here. I'm not sure about this. I mean, these 4 guns pretty much can buy some time and maybe caught up some reinforcement like this. Like, vultures getting picked off randomly, and they're dangerously low HP too.
Yeah, but vultures get into position and lay a couple mines. Oh, mine triggers, but does not get any hits. That tank on the low ground is tanks are pretty low, a couple of them. But remember, these tanks already have +1 weapons, so they are hitting like a truck. Siege mode kicks in. Is there enough for Rush to actually bust through? Goons are coming out nonstop. Look at that turret wall preventing the goons from getting out, but carriers are out.
But at the same time, those 4 guns were retreated and picked some of a siege tank. Only a single siege tank remaining for for Rush, and the 2 SCV just got picked up as well. And now the 4 interceptors are out on the map and picking some vultures and tanks now. I think Best might be able to hold. We see more guns are popping out from the main base.
Yeah, he's just barely going to hold this. That was a lot of ultra reinforcement, but not able to get through the choke because all the tanks pretty much died. He's going to kill about half of the goons with his single 2 tanks, but carriers are out now. They're dealing a lot of damage. Third base went unscathed, so that means that that's going to be a lot of econ for Best kicking in, and I don't know what you do as Rush now. I mean, he's building more factories, but supplies are heavily in favor of Best now. And he doesn't have any more tanks.
The execution was nice, but maybe it would have been better if it was like a horizontal or vertical matchup. But cross spawn was just way too far that the early stage of the timing push wasn't working so well, and now Rush is not even thinking of taking another expansion, immediately committing to go for 2 base 7 fact.
I think this is pretty much all he really can do, is he just tries to commit to this. He's had 5 fact for so long. He was building units as much as he could to try and hit before the carriers hit. I think this is really all you can do. Is that an 8th factory? No, that's a depot. So more than likely, Rush is going to have maybe 1 or 2 follow-up attacks. That's going to be it for him, because I don't expect to see a command center coming in. But we see third Nexus. I mean, it's already been up and running. He's got cannons set up. The Best is in an amazing position. Those should be gateways. I just don't see how Rush can win any fight now.
Yeah, we also got the carrier upgrade, +2 upgrade on the way for carrier. And I'm not sure. I mean, whenever you're fighting against carrier, you kind of always want to have at least 2-1 upgrade, or if you literally have to execute Protoss with a +1 attack, and his execution didn't work so well. He wasn't even able to kill any of a single probe. Like, Best has been mining that 3 base for like so safe, and he has been getting all the mineral income, and he's just pretty much heavily working on this gateway man here.
Yeah, now all Best really has to do is actually just build zealots, because we're having the same scenario that we had on Lemon, where Rush knows that there's carriers out on the map, so he's building a lot of Goliaths. I mean, that's what you need. You need Goliaths. However, he has like 4 vultures, and as we all know, the Goliaths are great versus the carriers, but the problem is that they're going to be shooting interceptors, which means there's going to be no damage going onto the zealots, and they're just going to get directly on top of the army. However, this Terran army looks surprisingly strong. He's trying to move into position. If he can get on the high ground, he might actually have a fighting chance. Here come those zealots. As I stated, they're already on top of the Goliaths, and goons from the right side and left side is just not enough Terran.
Yeah, no vulture support. It's just pretty much doing the free damage deal to those Goliath, and also Siege Tank. There's also killing his own Goliath at the same time, and now the number of carriers is looking solid, and now Rush cannot keep up this fight anymore.
Yep, and the GG comes out, and just like we saw on Lemon, just no vulture support. I mean, he was down. I don't think he would have won the fight anyways after the first attack failed, but Rush being a little bit too anxious with his attacks, and they are not being successful.
I've been facing a lot of carriers recently, and I've been also recording recording against the carrier. Like, you know how a lot of players are struggling to beat Protoss. Like, you know, those normal players, not like high level players. Normal players who are watching my stream asking me about how to beat Protoss, and I've been always telling you gotta be patient. You gotta be patient and focus on your upgrade, and also checking out how fast the carrier or how late the carrier is. And in this kind of game scenario where Rush was going for super fast upgrade at 5 minute plus 1, he could have gotten that 2-1 upgrade at 11-minute mark, and if he just sit and wait until 2-1 upgrade at 11-minute mark and go for a 2-base all in, I think it would have been a different result.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of +2 also. I mean, 1-1 is strong. Also, I don't think that Rush's follow-up was bad, but in that scenario where you have +1 so fast, you might as well go for +2. And also, he scanned it. Like, he scanned that it's 2-base Stargate. He scanned that it's going to be a low goon count in the early game. He could have just taken a 3rd base. So, a bit unfortunate there for Rush, and he's now going to be down 3-1. But yeah, I like how you say, as Terran, you got to be patient, because that's exactly the case. I see so many players, just they want to fight, but that's not how Terran works. Terran works with critical mass, like Marine Medic critical mass, tank critical mass. Like, you need critical mass, and you need those upgrades. So let's see if Rush can get it together, because if he loses here, I mean, he's going to be 1 game away from... He can't win it anymore, because it would be 4-1. Our next map is going to be Polypoid. Game 5. It's going to be super important for Rush. Okay, so we've got horizontal spawns this time around. In the top right, our Terran, it is Rush. And then in the top left, up 3-1, it is Best. Now everybody knows Polypoid. I personally think this is maybe one of the best maps ever made. So what do you think we can expect here now that we've got horizontal spawns? I think Rush is consistently scouted horizontally, so he should get a first scout off.
I wish he can actually scout Best Zone with the first scout and get more intel, and he should be... I mean, he has been losing to those two games by carrier. Those 2 games, it was kind of hurting to see how Rush was getting crushed by the carrier opening. And I feel like maybe Rush is not feeling comfortable playing against carrier opening. Maybe he's not used to it, or maybe he doesn't know how to execute it so well. You know, if you guys have watched the other Terran players like Light is absolutely beast. Like, he knows how to kill carrier all the time. He has been showing the online stats, like having about like 70-80% against Protoss, and even Best can't keep up against Light anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can understand why people want to be aggressive versus carriers, because, for example, as you mentioned, Light, like, if we think about one of Light's recent games in the ASL, he went split map on Polypoid versus Protoss versus Snow. Like, you have to be insanely confident in your ability to be willing to go for a split map on one of the maps that has the most resources of any map. So it is hard to play that type of style. Oh, we've got actually Gasless from Best, and this is a somewhat new build, right? We've been seeing... Oh, okay, now I'm completely thrown off.
Okay, so I was thinking whether it was going to be like a quadruple 16, where I was talking about the some community, like the community user was inventing about the Zalor expand with the 16, 16, 16, 16, everything. You throw down the buildings at 16, 16 Nexus, 16 on Simulator, 16 Pylon, 16 Cybernetics 4. But this time, we see him already made a Pylon, so that's not gonna be the case.
Yeah, and actually, Rush is just unlucky today because this is a vertical scout, and he's gonna last scout maybe. Okay, he's gonna end scout at least, but I have to say this Protoss build, this is definitely my type of build. He's not gonna even end scout, but this is my type of build because what I do is I like to pressure Terran, and if they don't get an SCV in my base, I just build Citadel and go straight into DT, and because the game has already gotten chaotic, sometimes the Terrans don't realize that. So let's see what Best is going to do here. Zealot into the main already. Unfortunately, that is not a flash SCV. It pops out on the wrong side. Takes a lot of damage, but actually gets away with its life.
Yeah, no damage due to Marines. So Marines are pretty damn healthy, and Zealot lost all the shield. But here's another second Zealot should be coming and going for the bust, maybe.
Yeah, 2 Zealots. I think you got to go for it. Here he goes. SCV is in a good position. Really good. He's going to lose 2 SCVs, though. Okay. But Zealots get on top of the Marines. Can he kill any of the Marines? Oh, there goes 1. There goes 2. It's going to be 2 for 2. That's not bad. Now, meanwhile, back in Protoss's main, I am a little bit surprised it was not a 3rd Zealot. And he is just going to transition into normal Goon in range.
So nothing is going to be... I don't think Rush has confirmed the 3rd pylon. But he should be able to guess there should be a 3rd pylon somewhere, because I mean that 2 Zealot already cost like 4 supply in the beginning of the siege, and he should be knowing the 3rd pylon should be somewhere, maybe like a hidden base or maybe hidden location. But we see both of the players gonna be playing safe, going into expansion versus a bunker expand with the 1 vulture.
Yeah, now you can see that vulture is scouting around, and instantly I'm thinking back to the mini royal game that we just saw the other day. Is think about where that probe was in this game with the Zealots. It was with the Zealot, not hiding a pylon anywhere, whereas in the mini versus royal game did not use the probe together with the Zealot, and he was hiding tech. So just something to point out there, that Rush, or if Best was actually hiding something, that would be a very sneaky move. We see that that's not the case, and it is just a standard robo follow-up.
Yeah, we see Rush is actually having ramp barracks and start making more of a marine production. And second tank is also popping out momentarily with the Vulture Spider Mine research. So this is not going to be like the classic of a 3 tank push, but this is going to be a single factory into 2 siege tank. Pressure, because we know Rush has picked up all those 2 early Zealot in the beginning, that he's also feeling confident. So it's going to be pure Gunman, and against pure Gunman, these 2 tanks are going to be so efficient with the Vulture follow-up.
And building those 2 Zealots could have been an additional Goon, but we have to point out that the Vulture was built, which delays this attack, about 20 seconds. So we'll see how this works. There's only 3 Goons, so I'm thinking that this is going to be successful. 4 Goons. Ooh, Best. He's going to send 2 to his main at the wrong time, dude. And that means that Terran's going to get into position on this natural.
Okay, now Spider Mines did finish, and Bryan to put some Spider Mines, but the Vultures are sometimes, the AI just glitches these Marine tanks sometimes, but putting those Spider Mines nicely here. Putting more Spider Mines here nicely, but here's a Goon.
That was pretty good. He takes down 2 Marines and a Vulture, and a mine. The 3 Goons are alive still, but those tanks have almost full health, man. And they are hitting like a truck. We can see that 2 of the Goons have no shields. Okay, focus. Oh, he focuses 1 down. Look at this micro. He's going to focus down the 2nd Goon. Almost. And okay, he is going to turn around. He is going to take that as a win and back off for now. I think that is smart, because we know Best has a robo. I don't know if he has a Reaver coming out, though. No, not anytime soon, because Shuttle just started.
Yeah, that is definitely a good hold by Best. Even he could have gotten more damage. I mean, if that Spider Mine bomb didn't actually hit those Marine could have been alive, then pretty much deal more of a damage to Best's natural and maybe picked up more of a probe. But I think this is somewhat lucky that Best was able to hold.
Yeah, I mean, his 2 Goons moved out of position right when Terran moved in. So for him to hold there, really, really good defense. And I think even if Rush could have gotten a little bit more damage, it's a smart move to save your expensive tanks. He knows he's up workers now. That's another key thing. So he's going into the mid game in a fantastic spot. He's got his armory finishing, and he's going to be going into that +1, and he's got turret ring set up. So Reaver drop shouldn't deal much damage at all.
I like how Rush is putting some of the Spider Mines at the main base. So I guess he's somewhat expected to see like some kind of a dropship becoming momentarily. he just knows, like, he has all the spider mines everywhere.
Yeah, mines being set up, turrets being set up, so useful versus the Reaver. You know, actually, I've seen a couple players start using bunker
Oh,
versus
yes.
Reaver drop. Yeah, even if it's just one Marine, like it can draw the attention or the shots from the Reaver and the Zealot.
Yeah, those, having additional bunker, at the main base, because you're not gonna be using those Marine for the pressure. You can just use those for Marine for like some type of defense at the main base whenever Protoss is playing some kind of a speed shuttle into mass drop. And we see that with the first scan, seeing Best's main base, seeing Robo with the 4 gateway follow up. There's still no Adun.
Yep, no Adun. Okay, Reaver might die actually. It did die, and it did kill 2 SCVs and a turret. So I mean, it wasn't worthless, but not the trade you're expecting. Now that gas at the natural or at the main, did I see just 2 on the gas? Okay, it is just 2 on the gas. The longer the game goes, the more that's going to come into play. Oh, vultures into the third base, no pylon wall at all. This is going to be a lot of damage.
So I like this vulture harassment, picking up some probe. So now that's gonna be helping Rush to lead the worker count lead. And now he also has the high ground advantage at the minor expansion. Is he gonna be putting down the CC momentarily?
I think we are going to see the... Oh, he already has the CC already done. He's got 3 fact, so he pretty much put down the perfect amount of factories while also being expanding, so he's just being safe. Here comes another Reaver drop. Oh, turret gets up in the nick of time, maybe. Ooh, that's a decent connection. Gets like 4 or 5 SCVs. But how does it escape now?
I think it got stuck, but oh, that single C tank was about to hit that shot, but didn't actually hit it. And now I think this is a little bit of a trouble for Rush, because I honestly do not like about the SimCity. Just messing up your AI of your units are pretty much getting stuck. And Artos is probably raging. Why is my units not moving?
Yeah, and the Reaver does end up getting away too. And honestly, that move is a move that Best needed to make, because Terran was harassing that third base quite well. Terran already had comsats, which cuts into your SCV count by 4. So for Terran to be up in workers and already have all their comsat and third base set up, I mean, Protoss was gonna be in big time trouble. So a mandatory move from Best right there. Now, I don't know about this move. Ooh, is he gonna try and split the D? Okay, he's gonna take down that turret, and now he's back into that mineral line. Uh-oh, no! Did he overextend? Oh, that's a big hit.
Oh, that actually hit at the same time. I thought Scarab actually did this. Oh, losing that 2 Reavers. It's gonna be crucial, because that's about like what, 10 supply, and you know Reaver's so efficient, like picking up the vultures and delaying the siege tank push. But losing that 2 Reavers not gonna help Best for defending some kind of a sort of pressure if Rush ever plans to move out. But I guess he doesn't have much of a factory count to move out yet. But we see he's up on the worker lead, 56.
I think Best is all in here. I think, yeah, like you can see, he's not building any more probes. He's had his Citadel for a while. I think speed is about to kick in, and we may just see Best go for it. Here he goes. He's going to try and clear out the mines. Shuttle bomb on top of these mines and tanks. The mine does not connect onto those zealots. Ooh. Somehow, but that is so many zealots. But it looks like Yam2 may just barely have enough. The SCV pull was perfect.
I mean, that spider mine, that could have killed Rush's army, but that was so lucky. Like, those spider mines did not actually trigger, and pretty much Zealots died for free. And he held it actually. We can see the supply is about nearly even, and he's also ahead of worker count. I'm not sure what Best is doing. Best is not actually macroing. He's just stuck at about like 50-ish worker count for the whole time. What is he actually doing? This is like a 3-base all-in, what we are right now seeing.
Yeah, I think that this is just going to be a 3-base all-in, and I don't think this was a bad move. It didn't work out, but it was close to working, like really close. I think what Best was intending was he realized he forced a big SCV pull with his Reaver drop, and he saw there was only 3 factories the whole time, so he was thinking like, okay, well, 8 gate, if I just all in here, I think he might have been able to, or he thought he might have been able to bust. Imagine if he had those 2 Reavers in that attack.
Oh, that would have
The game would have ended, right?
Yeah, that would have been a different story too.
Yeah, so a bit unlucky that actually he lost his shuttle for the Reaver drop, because I think the game would have just outright ended. But as played, now Best is going to try and transition into a 4th base. He's taking bottom left, but more Vulture harassment coming in, and +2 is almost done, and that's the power spike Terran's waiting for.
Yeah, the worker count doesn't seem too great for Best. Best is finally taking another expansion at the bottom left, but oh, this Vulture harassment is just too painful to watch. I mean, he didn't set up the pylon wall at the natural as well, and now this worker count is slowly getting smaller and smaller.
Yep, no pylon wall, no cannons, just super greedy from Best. Okay, we see why that happened, because there was a Reaver drop into Rush's main at the same time, so both players testing each other's multitask. Unfortunately, Rush gets the better end of the stick, and he takes game 5 and brings back the score to 3-2.
Yeah, I guess those Vulture harassment pretty much triggered Best to leave this game, because he was trying to finish the game with 3 base all in, but losing that 2 Reavers in the mid game, pretty much things just didn't work so well.
Yeah, but it was a cool idea. I like how we're seeing different builds from both players almost every single game. Like, it's just really cool how multiple different styles can be effective. This time around, Rush ended up sealing the victory again with great Vulture control. And Best needs to be careful, because it seems like Rush has in his mind today that if he can harass you, he's going to do it as much as possible. And it's been quite successful every single time. So we're going to be going into game 6. I'm going to remember what map that's going to be.
Before we go into game 6, can I use the bathroom break?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so we're gonna be taking about like 3 minute to 5 minute break. I'll be coming back.
All right. Alright guys, well while we wait for Scan, I was taking a look at our remaining maps for the day. We've still got best non-ASL pick Gladiator left over. We've got Largo left over. And we also have Ascension and Eclipse. So these are all going to be pretty wide open maps. I think this is going to be pretty hard for Rush to turn it around, but we know Rush is one of the best Terran players these days. I like how Best has shown all types of strategy, and now he ended up going for that bust on Polypod, so we actually may see some more bust style coming in since Ascension is pretty open, Eclipse is open, and we know Largo is super open in the center of the map. I actually want to see Gladiator get picked here because we did see Best just lose, and that would give him the option for picking that particular map. We know that Rush can't pick that because it's Best's pick. Or can he pick it? I guess I am unsure if he can pick it or not, but regardless, I think I want to see Gladiator. It's a map we haven't seen in a long time. I'm trying to think of how many actual bases are on this map. I think it's like 16. So a lot of econ available, and we know since Best is the macro king, this would be a map that is definitely in tune with his playstyle. I'm looking at the other maps that we had available for this ultimate battle. I'm a bit sad that Grand Line didn't get in, because Grand Line is a pretty cool map. It's similar to Ground Zero, however the third bases that are in the mid-left, mid-right position are islands, so you can have a lot of intricacies there, you know, forcing a lot of dropships from Terran, or Protoss hiding a third base there, Terran hiding a third base there, maybe. But overall, these Ultimate Battle events have been quite cool. I like how we've got a lot of the ASL maps and a lot of super popular old school maps mixed in. Well, Scan should be coming back momentarily. I want to see Rush actually go for 14 Command Center or Gasless, as I mentioned, because feels like he's gone gasless or gone for the 12 gas a little bit too often. I think he needs to mix it up a little, or maybe go for... I'm trying to think of what other options Terran actually have other than 11 gas, 12 gas. Like, what instantly came to mind was BBS in the center, but do I really want to see that? Maybe on Ascension, maybe. I'm not too sure where I want to see that, but I think all the other maps, I just want to see a typical standard game. Let me actually open up Spawn Bung, because if you guys have been watching the ASL cast, I was mentioning that our ASL map that's actually coming, or our ASL match that's actually coming up today, which is going to be Rush versus Soma. Those two players have played 700 games since 2020, and Rush has only played 3,000 Terran versus Zerg sponsored matches. So almost 25% of the time he's been playing versus Soma when it's a Terran versus Zerg sponsored match. So let me get a look here and see how many times actually these players have played since 2020. Alright, so I'm looking at the stats now. We've actually got a 53% win rate versus Protoss for Rush. So his win rate is quite high. And let's see if what it is versus Best and... Okay. So actually, versus Best, his win rate is only at 35%. He's 94 wins, 173 losses. I actually wasn't expecting to see that because Rush, I mean, his Terran versus Protoss is really strong, and you can see how good he is with the Vulture harassment. If he sits back and focuses on his macro while also harassing, I think he can beat somebody like Best quite often, because a lot of the time we see Best go for Gateway Man. So I'm a little bit surprised that this is just at 35%. Let me see what his highest win rate versus Protoss is. That has a sizable amount of games. Actually, Let's see.
Which player are you looking up?
Oh, I was looking up the statistics of Rush versus Best because, as I mentioned in ASL, there's 700 games played between Rush and Soma. So I was wondering what his stats were versus Best. There's 250 games or 260 games played between him and Best, but he only has a 35% win rate versus Best.
Wait, what's the win rate?
35% for a Rush. That's pretty low.
You mean overall, right?
Yeah, overall, that's his 30. 35 versus Best in particular. Overall versus Protoss, he has a 53% win rate.
That's weird. I'm also looking up on a Spunpang list. I'm trying to look at Rush's 2021 record.
Yeah, okay. I have to say, this was from 2020 to 2021. 2021. Until now, I mean. This was my filters. So for basically past 2 years, 35% win rate versus Best.
Wow, literally 35% win rate, as you say.
Yeah.
41 wins and 76 losses against Best. Wow,
Yeah,
that's
and
a lot of games they have played.
Yeah, not as many for Soma though, but yeah, quite a few games. And I was saying that I was a bit surprised because you can see how effective Rush's harassment is, and if he just sits there in macros while harassing, I think he should win versus Best because Best gateway mans quite often. So I was a little bit surprised. Well, we're gonna be going into Game 6 now, right?
Yeah. I'm
So
ready.
Yeah, I am ready too. Let's get into Game 6, find out what map it's going to be. Don't know what it is just yet, but I'm hoping we get to see some Gladiator action. Okay, in the top middle, our Protoss player is Death. And then at the bottom left, our white Terran. It is Rush. Our map is going to be Ascension. And you've got me just paranoid about top middle all the time, man, because you're always focusing on those mineral boosts. And Best got that with him this time around.
Yeah, everything is mined vertically, so Best is done optimizing up this pro mineral line. Well, that's definitely great. And Rush. Also, whenever Terran spawns at the bottom left side, there's also the auto mineral boost for Terran, which is the very top one. That's kind of like how Zerg is working on those mineral boosting. Terran also has one, but only from the command center point of view, only at the 11 o'clock point of view.
And we can see that that's the patch that he's mining right now. Look at that super fast mining pattern right there. Now, I was mentioning in the break that I really want to see Rush go for gasless or go for BBS or something. Because, oh my, I knew it, man. I was going to say that, but oh, actually, he debated us. I thought we were going to see 12 Nexus again, but this time it is going to be another gateway opener.
And we see Best is not interested of going for a scout after the gateway, but he's queuing up the probe already, so maybe he's not interested of taking the simulator. Maybe this might be the new, okay, not a new playstyle of going for expansion. So this is going to be 12 a simulator follow-up, but we see Rush having 350 mineral already.
There we go, my boy YamTube. He's gonna go for it, man. It's gonna be a 14 command center. I have to say, out of all the maps to do it on, other than Eclipse, I don't know about this because this is a 3-player map. It feels like you're gambling really hard that this Protoss player isn't gonna scout you, and unfortunately, he gets first scouted.
Yeah, getting first scouted. It's not gonna be so happy for Rush. And now we're going to be seeing the Zealot production is already on the way for Best here. And this is just a typical build order where you see like a 14 Zealot with a Cybernetics core follow-up. So core into a Zealot into a good follow-up. And I wonder how much of a damage it's going to be doing. And oh, the gas is also stolen.
That's pretty painful, but because it's 14 command center, I don't think this is a huge deal. If it's gasless, yeah, this hurts a lot. Now that is a great Sim City. I was not aware that you could do this, and that I think the barracks placement denies the zealots from getting between the corner of the command center. I think.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well, okay. So this is a fantastic placement, but you got to be careful because the zealot is already here.
Oh, look at that probe. It's block denying. Okay, I think he's trying to estimate of a marine production time, but here's a zealot aggression. Nice surrounding.
Ooh! Yeah, great surround, but he ends up taking out 2 SCVs regardless, and because he got gas stolen, he's still not mining gas just yet. Goon is halfway across the map. This zealot really hasn't taken that much damage. Think the bunker will get up. Look at that SCV control. Fantastic, yet the zealot still gets by.
Okay, looks like the zealot is somewhat low HP. I think he's trying to buy some time. Try to drag the attention to the left side. So, marine does fall. SCV drill is definitely looking great. So 2 marine inside of the bunker. That will help Rush to hold this pressure. But what's the follow-up for best range upgrade into Gunman?
Yeah, this is a fantastic opener from Best. The gas deal was amazing, and even though, well, actually the zealot did deal a decent amount of damage. But what I was going to say is that even if the zealot or goon didn't deal a lot of damage, what it did do was there was no gas mining at the natural forever. So this factory, it just started and range is almost done. Like, this is going to be crazy pressure onto the bunker. And we see that an SCV actually snuck out. I wonder what he wants to do with this. I think he might actually proxy a factory, maybe, or he's just going to go for another scout.
Nah, I think the factory timing is so slow for Rush. I have a feeling this is most likely going to be the scout to figure out what Best is actually doing. Rather, he's going to go for Robo or maybe DT drop or some kind of a rear playstyle, or maybe Greedy 3 Nexus. I think Greedy 3 Nexus is also one of the key part where we can see in this game scenario, because I mean the factory is super slow.
Yeah, exactly. As I was saying, Proxy Factory, I was thinking, nah, that's too slow for that. So yeah, I think that is the intention, just to see whether this is a third Nexus or not. I mean, if I was Protoss in this scenario, you're darn right I would have put down a third Nexus, because I know that the factory is just non-existent. So there goes that probe, and it is going to be a pretty fast Nexus, maybe 530 Nexus potentially, but it's not as fast as it could have been. Robo did finish, I noticed that, and let's see, yep, straight shuttle, so it is going to be more Reaver harassment.
So now those Gun Rangers pretty much harassing the natural so much. Bunker, SCV, even SCV is getting some damage, but Rush wasn't paying attention. Okay, he does pay attention.
Yeah, and what I like about this, where he's damaging the depot and the bunker, it forces Terran to pay attention, because of that scenario right there. You see that 4 goons jumped onto that bunker. Luckily, Rush was watching. He's not going to lose the bunker, but for sure, a lower level Terran 100% would have lost that bunker. Now the tank is going to come out and push this back. But you got to remember, this is 4 or 5 goons versus 1 tank. They will 2-shot the tank if the tank ever moves a little bit too far forward. But he does turn back in time, and now we're going to have a Reaver drop coming in the next 30 seconds or so.
So we see Rush is just kind of stuck at just literally 2 base with a single factory with a +1 attack. And I think he could have gone for Greedy 3 Nexus, but I guess he wanted to go for a Reaver follow-up. And now I think this is kind of giving Rush some time to catch up for the late game potential, because that wasn't a Greedy 3 Nexus.
Yeah, and I realized that this was a 14 command center, and, you know, Terran should be up in workers, but the Zealot Goon damage in the early game, I thought did more damage, and I'm a bit surprised that the probes are actually lacking compared to the SCVs. Like, he's down 5, or okay, it's just 3 now, but I am a little bit surprised by that. But regardless, we've got second factory coming in, academy coming in, armories +1 is about a third of the way done, so we're going to see Starport coming in pretty soon. But here comes that Reaver. Okay, tank is not set up. Okay, he doesn't kill the turret just yet, but he pops one SCV.
Yeah, that losing the single Mr. like this doesn't seem too great because Rush is lacking with the siege tank count, and if just Goon soaking up the siege tank shot, maybe just unload and try to get some more of the CV, or he's gonna try.
He knew that all the Marines moved out of position, and that's a great shot from downtown. Takes down 2 or 3 SCVs right there. Forces a full SCV pull from the mineral line. And now the Reaver doesn't have any goon support, so I think it should just leave. But this also, okay, no, actually the starport is pretty well timed, lining up for +2. Oh, he is going to unload. Can he get another SCV? He does.
Yeah, those Scarab shot is doing some of the great amount of damage, and now the speed shuttle does kick in. I don't know when the hell he got speed out. I checked the support bay like 1 or 2 minutes ago. He wasn't getting the speed shuttle, but he got it somehow. And now let's see what the next follow-up is. More gateway, 6 gateway total, no other whatsoever.
Yeah, as a Terran player, when you're scanning, you're looking for that Adun timing, and it just doesn't exist. It may have been a mistake that Best just didn't build it, because he is going into that gateway flood. I can't imagine him just attacking without speed, but I mean, I have seen it. But yeah, this Adun feels a little bit late. I love this Nexus placement, and the reason I love this 4th Nexus is because Protoss knows he's in a good position right now, and it forces Terran to do something about it. Like, Terran, you can't just sit here. If you sit here, this base is going to get mined out. So I love this. Now here comes another Reaver drop. Let's see if he can be successful. He's going to pop a tank, but that's really all the damage that was done.
Yeah, that also forced Russia to pull back some of SCV too. So trading a Zealot for a single siege tank, I would say that was a beneficial move by Best here. And another Zealot will be unloaded. He will pick up this another free. Ooh, just picked up another siege tank.
Might get another one. Ooh, he gets 2 tanks with that Reaver and Shuttle, or Reaver and Zealot, and now this game is starting to get heavily in favor of Best, assuming he doesn't lose. Oh, I see a Vulture drop at 3rd base. What's going on there? Exposed probes. Again, a little bit late on the gun with the probe wall, or with the pylon wall and cannon, and this is what Rush needed to get back into this game.
Wow, he did kill a lot of workers.
Yeah, he killed like 10 workers.
Can't believe that. I can't believe how much of a workers he just picked up with the 1 and 4 Vulture drop. And dropship, luckily it got survived. And now Best needs to secure his 4th expansion. Let's see what other techs he right now has. Getting the +1 attack with the photon cannon at the main base. A Dune upgrade, speed upgrade on the way. The Templar type follow up. So far, nothing is going crazy. Just pure gateway man with maybe speed shuttle, more of a speed shuttle.
Yeah, I was really liking Best build or execution with the Reaver, but the more I'm watching his macro and his main, the more I'm not too keen of his build. He doesn't have any AoE at all. It's just gateway, man. Vultures get into the 3rd base again, and there's Vultures out in the center of the map too, and now he uses them. This time, Reaver is going to be set up, so that's going to deny the counterattack. But you can see Rush, he's killing it with this Vulture harassment.
Yeah, we've been hearing lots of scan here and there and confirming how much of a gateway and what other techs Best actually has. So getting those intel is definitely nice. He should definitely realize there is no Stargate at the main base nor natural, so he knows this is a pure gateway man into something. Most likely it is gonna be a speed shuttle playstyle.
Got Vultures into 3rd base again. He just cannot get up the defense that he needs. Now this time around, I think he lost like 4 probes maybe. The Goons did pick off the dropship, so that's great. But Terran's about to get a 3rd base, and worker count's pretty even. Now, let's not discredit this, because Protoss is up 50 supply, but his comp is not exactly the greatest. Okay, take that back. Reaver's gonna deny this 3rd base. Oh, too many tanks.
Ooh, nice one. Picking up a single Reaver right there. And now Rush is slowly securing this 3rd expansion. And Rush is somehow dragging all this attention to the middle here with the spider mines. And spider mines, we see
Oh my
3 shuttles
gosh.
incoming, but spider mines is about to get triggered.
This is one of the weak points of Best Game, is he does not ever have good observer placement. And he runs through a field of mines. That time around didn't deal as much damage as it could have been. But that is like the bane of his existence. If I could fix one thing for Best, it would be observers versus mines. Now he's got a lot of shuttles, and this is going to be like a miniature recall. Let's see how much damage he can get with this. Ooh, no turrets. Okay, just one. No mines.
Yeah, that is a lot of dollars unloaded. Ooh, that's a nice one scarab shot, blowing up some amount of SCV. That's definitely great.
Yep, and that is a lot of zealots. But luckily he kept one of the shuttles alive, so he'll be able to micro it. And at the same time, I was expecting to see an attack from Best on the third base, but not going to be the case. Rush has not moved any of his units. So he's just going to continue to ferry in these units. I don't think this is exactly ideal. Feels like we're going to bleed off these goons. But overall, this was a pretty successful attack. And meanwhile, Best is getting up his 5th base at bottom right.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that additional 4 goon drop at the main base. That was pretty much a meaningless, I'll say. Oh, here's the second robotic facility, what I'm seeing at the natural. So this is purely of a speed shuttle into mass shuttle playstyle. Well, right now we're seeing. And yeah, Best is somehow having all this supply lead, but not much of an action going on. Okay, he did a great amount of like harassment, but he's not trading so well.
Yeah, he didn't trade the greatest. Vultures are going to come into this 5th base and find it. Meanwhile, there's a probe transfer going on. So, oh man. I mean, Best is in a good position, but if he loses 15 workers here, not the most ideal. Now, here comes another drop. And this time around, Rush has much better defense. And this is going to get shut down quite easily.
Yeah, that was a nice way of pulling the SCV back to the natural. But at the same time, the Vulture harassment was doing some damage. I don't think it picked up any of a probe here, because when we look at the working count, it's 64 for Best here. And I think Rush is trying to stall this game with how many factory? Maybe about like 7 factory total. So he has been defending his main base nicely. But this mass speed shuttle is kind of hurting him a lot. Oh, what is this? Storm drop.
Ooh, that's a good storm drop. It doesn't really kill that many SCVs, but the idea was great. Supplies still in favor of Best, but it's only 35 now, and we do know that Terran's 2-1 upgrade has kicked in. +3 should be maybe like halfway done by now. About close to halfway done. But Terran is starting to get resource starved, because the main and mineral, or the main and natural, are going to dry up pretty soon, and then he'll be stuck just on 1 base mining at that 3rd base. Oh no, he lost his gas somehow.
Yeah, that explosion of we just heard, that was happening at the main base. And now Best is working on the mass speed shuttle playstyle here, constantly going for the drop. That was a nice storm here. Did kill a decent amount of worker count.
Yeah, good storm. Just trying to keep the Terran at bay. So we've got some mini-esque style of play. Meanwhile, Protoss just sitting on that high ground waiting for the moment to jump. Now remember, he knows that there's a million mines there. So if he had another shuttle, that could have been catastrophic if he had a shuttle bomb on top of that tank count. But but Rush is going to move into position on this high ground, start taking his 4th base.
Yeah, the 4th base should be starting momentarily, and I like how Rush decided to move out here, because if he just constantly gets stuck at this 3 base, like not able to move at all because of the goons are all sitting at the high ground and whatsoever, and constantly using this mass speed shuttle. How many speed shuttles is this? Okay, that's 4 total. That is great amount of army, but I have a feeling Best made way too many worker count. I mean, his army doesn't seem too high to me.
Yeah, if you're going to make this amount of worker count and then have, 10 supply in the air that can't help you with the shuttles, this is a bit questionable. And here comes another attack. But remember, this is Tau, or not Tau, Bros, this is Ascension, where units get choked up at that entrance. Amazing storms blanketing a lot of the units, but it's so hard for best units to actually get into the main, yet here they come. They're finally busting through, and this might be the killing blow. Actually, tanks are popping out. I think Rush should be able to hold this, but still, that's a lot of Zealots getting in.
A lot of Zealots just got in, and that's a nice supply depot wall.
Yeah. Great crisis. Oh! Those storms, but great crisis management from Rush right there. But the storms blanketing the tanks in the back were fantastic. But that is the entire army of Best getting obliterated. And yeah, Rush lost some SCVs, but he's still at 51. And this does alleviate pressure, so now he can get his 4th base up and running.
Best is finally adding out some gateway at the bottom right side too, but besides just making speed shuttle, okay, he's not interested in going for any arbiter or nor carrier switch. He's just gonna be focusing on triple forge and constantly upgrading this this gateway man upgrade.
Jeez, more shuttles. They're just non-stop, but it's just not working. This mini style, kind of backfiring. Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of this style. It feels like it can backfire in a scenario like this where you don't kill a lot of tanks, and then all of a sudden it's Tank Man versus pure gates, and we know how that ends up. Tank Man ends up winning. But with it being Ascension, where it's a 3-player map, I think it's a little different because Best may actually just, you know, take like 10 bases, and Rush may struggle to get another base from here on out.
Best has been mining with those 6 bases, a lot of probes, but when we look at the army supply, it doesn't seem too many. We just heard a lot of scan goes off. Scanning at Best's main base to confirm and where the army locates at. So there's no Stargate yet. So Rush should be feeling confident that it's just pure gateway man, and all he gotta do is defend from this mass speed shuttle. And here's once again another mass speed shuttle. One shuttle just got picked off.
Yeah, and that's gonna be 2 shuttles that instantly died. You know, actually, once you get +1 weapon, the magic number for Goliath is 3, because then you 2-shot shuttle. So if he has 6 Goliaths, he will 1-shot every single shuttle. I can't remember if there's a breakpoint with +3, but regardless, those shuttles, unless they got armor, they're going to be taken down quite easily. Another shuttle, man. As you mentioned, it's like, look at that army. It's puny, really. And Terran's about to max out.
Yeah, I mean, Rush has been staying on this 3 base saturation, 4 base saturation, transferring some amount of SCP at there too. But here's once again, diving in. But Spider-Man did trigger, doing some great amount of damage to the Zealots. But these tanks were already ready on position using D-Matrix.
Yeah, the D-Matrix was fantastic. I mean, okay, here we go. There's an attack at mid-right at the same time. So this is the type of move that you need to make when you go for style like this. Draw units out of position in the main, then backstab. But the tanks are at +3, and there was already like 5 tanks set up at bottom right. Good Storm takes down a lot of SCVs, actually. 45 SCVs in total now for Rush. You can see he just doesn't have the money anymore. Meanwhile, Best, because he has 70 probes, I mean, he's still got 2K, 1K.
Yeah, the worker count is slowly getting low and low for Rush, but if we subtract that worker count, that is going to be about 110-ish of an army count right now Rush has, and I think Rush thinks that he can actually go for the counterattack here because all the army just wasted for Best, and Best has everything vulnerable, I would say. He just got nothing.
Yeah, 3rd base is going to die. This base that I really like at bottom left should die, and there's a lot of probes at bottom left, so this game's going to start getting wild. But shuttles, they're moving into position at bottom right. It feels like there may be enough to bust bottom right, and Rush, even though he has a killer army, may just run out of money. Best still has 4 bases on the right side of the map.
Yeah, this is definitely looking chaotic to us. I mean, this is so much of a base trade going on. Rush is not going to be looking, he's not going to be turning back. He's just going to be constantly looking forward because he just wants to kill all the gateway man and maybe also pick up some robo as well. Oh, here's a double target was being built.
Yeah, I think Best should even start considering building scouts out of there, because anything to just buy time will help him right now. There's not a lot of anti-air. I guess 3 Goliaths would beat that. But Rush is on top of all the production. Supplies are basically even right now, but Rush is he just mining on one base? Yeah, he's just on one base mining.
Yeah, one base mining, but he does have that floating command center. That command center should be getting focus targeted by these Masculine, but the main base is somehow getting destroyed. But still, Best has a lot of leftover income, so he's probably gonna be keeping up this game. Rush is starving.
Yeah, Rush is starving, but 4th command center got saved. I mean, his 3rd didn't get broken. That is 7 shuttles in the air, which don't... Okay, they can help, but I mean, that's 14 supply, which means 14 plus a 22 worker difference. I mean, it's still like a 35 army advantage for Rush right now, and he has killed the entire main, and now he's into the mineral line at one of the bases.
Yeah, this is hurting Best at the moment, I'll say. And now also at the same time, Best... Remember, like, Best was started at 12 o'clock, and the majority of the pylons was at 12 o'clock side. And that means Best has to build a bunch of pylons at the
yeah.
bottom right here. Look at this. There are so many pylons being built. He constantly getting supply block, and he constantly remakes those pylons. And now, I think Rush is a little bit hesitant over here, whether he should be moving out and secure his 4th expansion, or just wait a little bit more for more army.
I think now he's just going to try and sync up the armies, because he actually has a ton of stuff at his 3rd base, and his army is so strong that just attacked that I don't think Protoss can break that either. Okay, here we go. This is going to be a huge attack now. This is a split up army for Terran. This is... Oh, shuttle dies. Storm, one of them dies. It's a good EMP, but there's more Templars at the backside, I think.
Oh, I think he just did a panic siege mode here.
Yeah.
Look at those siege sites just randomly spread. And these armies just getting crushed. Look at those Zealot men. It's just purely coming in line. But at the same time, I guess that pretty much draw the attention to the top left side. So now Rush is moving out once again.
Yeah, it was a panic siege. I don't know if it would have mattered, because it looked like that was an overwhelming amount of units. But yeah, Rush did not trade as effective as he could have there. And now this other base is getting pushed. And if we look at what Protoss has, it's really still not that much. Shuttle bomb coming in.
Oh, this doesn't look too great, because units are pretty much getting stuck. It's just too narrow to move.
Too narrow, too split up, lost half of his army at top left, and I think we are moments away from seeing the GG, because the tank count has been dwindled down to almost nothing. Protoss is still on 4 or 5 base mining, and now we've got a doubling in supply. We are just moments away from the GG. I think we heard the GG scans go off. There it is. GG, and Rush, he is going to lose another game, and that is going to put the score at 4-2. That was a wild game. You know, it looked insurmountable, but Rush was bringing it back. I was completely shocked that he wiped out the main, and I thought if he could actually sync up his army, that he was going to take it, because I don't know about you, but whenever I get into this weird scenario where I've lost my main and I have to rebuild it at another location, for whatever reason, I just have trouble macroing at that other location. And if you look at Best main, like, his gateways were all over the place. Like, they were not set up in the ideal SimCity that he wanted.
True. And one thing, I'm not sure why Rush wasn't getting so much of a Goliath count when he was able to confirm there were like mass shuttle was flying around at his main base at Natural all the time. But I remember like the moment where he went to counterattack at Best's main base, he had about like only 5 to 6 Goliath only. Maybe if he got all those like 8 to like 10 Goliaths, I think that could have been a better choice for him to snipe the speed shuttle much better. But I guess he just likes to make more of a siege tank and a vulture count, but it wasn't worked out so well.
Yeah, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think once you have +3, I think you can 4-shot shuttles, if I remember correctly. Maybe it's 5-shot. But yeah, if he had like more Goliaths there, those 7 shuttles that flew in, he would have instantly knocked them down if he focused it. But it is what it is. It was a crazy game. Nice comeback regardless. Great game. We're going to be getting into Game 7. That is going to be Largo. Best 1 game away from taking this series. Okay, guys. Terran on their last leg. He needs your energy. In the top right, it is Rush. And then in the orange, so close from taking the series, it is Best. Now we saw 14 Command Center, and it ended up being decent. I was surprised to actually see it on Ascension. Oh, you think we're going to see a 12th Nexus from Best here? It looked like he wanted to go for it on Ascension last game, then canceled.
Yeah, nowadays pretty much a lot of players are working on those the mining location. So significant at pro level, and here's the thing about this part of probe. How should I say the direction? Like if you're mining, like let's say you're mining the 3rd mineral over here at the for Best. If you're mining from the top to the bottom, like here, like how Best is right now mining, it's kind of like a semi mineral boost. But if you're actually mining from the bottom for the 3rd mineral, then you don't get any mining boost here. It's a somewhat weird mining padding of how weird this game is.
Yeah, you can see it. The semi mining boost is when the probe gets there and it turns quickly, right, to mine the mineral. Yes. Like it looks like, yeah. And then you can see that Protoss is boosting the top probe right there, and it is going to be another 12 Nexus. So, yeah, we're gonna have to see how Rush wants to react, and this is going to be another 12 gas. Now, we've seen all day long he's gone for harassment. I think this could be a good time to just open for straight mines instead of the vulture speed, but we'll see what he comes up with.
12 Nexus, and once again, Best is having all those lucky scout. Like he's gonna be finding where Rush is with the first scout here. He'll be meeting up the SCV as well. And this is also gonna give some intel for Rush that, hey, you have to be at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, an instant reaction from both players. Best dealing a little bit damage with the probe, but Rush not taking many hits, just 1. So that's great for him. Oh, is that a second probe? Okay, second probe moving out, and he wants to be as annoying as possible. Now, that is the single gate again. Ooh. The probe is not in range of that SC. Oh, it is in range. Gets a couple more hits off.
So we saw he just cut off the SCP production and the Marine production after the single Marine. So this is a 16 factory right now, what we are seeing. And instead of putting the factory on the right side of the or I should say the bottom of the mineral line, he decided to put it forward, like forward factory. So that means his vulture should be will be popping out and will be arriving at Best's natural ASAP. And this is what we're gonna be expected to see, how Rush might gonna go for the cheese most likely.
Yep, this is definitely going to be a pull, especially when he sees it's just 1 gate. Like, anytime I see somebody build 1 gate, I'm like, come on, man. Come on, you got to at least be reasonable with this 12 Nexus. And that's a single zealot. Remember the last? Okay, there we go. There's the second one. I was about to say, like, geez, these Protoss players, they just want to get away with absolute murder. But here come the 3-4 Marine move out. SCV's still alive, so he can drill SCVs onto the mineral line. And Vulture is going to be popping out, too.
Yeah, more Marine production on the way. There are 4 Marines that are walking out and finally pulling some SCV. This time only a 6 SCV pull.
Yeah, now this is the SCV count that I like, because the other one you're pulling 11 SCVs. Feel like you better end the game with it, but this you can actually transition out of. However, it's of course going to be harder to bust down this nat. Let's see how he can. Or how Protoss can defend this, or how well Protoss can defend this. Here comes that drill.
That's a nice drill. Putting a bunker. I like this bunker placement.
Oh, that's
it's
great.
Actually close to the ramp, and Guns can't actually leave the ramp.
Yeah, I love that too because it's going to limit the amount of goons that can actually attack it. Unfortunately for him, it's Largo where it looks like a goon can just sit on the high ground. But in general, I think this is a fantastic bunker placement, especially on if you can get into a position like this on Eclipse. And this was easy. I think he lost one SCV, and now he's going to be able to transition out of this. And you can see he didn't even leave that many SCVs back because he knows this is a fantastic bunker position. And actually, he's going for tanks behind this, so he's going to have a massive contain.
Normally when you do the cheese and your cheese actually worked out so well, you kind of want to leave 4 SCV because Protoss usually have the second gateway. And also, you're going to have that 4 goon. Whenever Protoss starts to have 4 goon, that's the time of Protoss start to have the goon range upgrade finishes. So that's why Terran players likes to leave 4 SCV at the natural. But I like this move, like leaving only 2 SCV. And the next follow-up right now Rush is doing is a single siege tank coming up. And Spider Mine research is also on the way. Command Center started as well. So this is just looking so great. And minimum amount of SCV about to repair the bunker as well.
Yeah, this is pretty much dream amount of damage that you're going to do versus a 12 Nexus. Do have to point out though that Protoss was of course building probes non-stop out of their Nexus. And he did save them all. So he's still up in workers by about 5. Meanwhile, Robo is done. You can see how hard it is to knock down that bunker because only 1 goon is in range. And now, Rush, I think he's sharking around to try and find those elevated goons. And when they initially come out.
So Rush is definitely putting the spider mines, but Best does not get to see those spider mines from his vision. So
Yep,
I like this move.
So he may unload unknowingly, and is he gonna trigger something? I think he will. Oh, he sees it with the mines, and he's just gonna pounce on those goons instantly. Oh. Goodbye, goon. Oh, Zealots on top of that mine. Does not trigger the mine though, actually, so he's gonna continue to fight, and this is a disaster for Best. He traded 2 goons for 2 Marines. He's not even gonna get that tank, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna be able to get that gun. Or maybe if he brings more gun, he should be able to pick up a single siege tank. What's left over? Okay, here's another tank was coming. But I think the natural. Okay, I think Rush wasn't really paying attention at this side. Now the bunker will gets blown up.
Yeah, even though he loses the bunker, I mean, this is fantastic for Rush. He killed so many goons, he lost only a single tank, 2 vultures, and 2 marines, and he got like 3 goons and 2 zealots. I mean, that's great. And behind this, he's already got his nat up and running, but we see that this is going to be a double expand from Best, because he already took his mineral only, and he's coming back to build that nat nexus too. There it is.
So that's a double nexus right now Best is taking. And when we look at the worker count, I mean 40 worker count? Jesus Christ, I think Best has been making those bunch of probes non-stop all the time, and he's somehow ahead of worker count here in this game.
Yeah, and this is without comsats added. So once the comsats get added, it's going to be a 4 more worker advantage for Best. So it's going to go from just 2 to 4 up to 6 to 8. So Best has done a good job to keep his macro up despite losing his natural. Now, compared to last game, this is a pretty darn fast Citadel. And remember, we saw a bust on Polypoid. So we'll see if he wants to go for that again. I don't think so. I think this might be the first time we get to see Arbiters.
I have a feeling those guns are somewhat out of place. Maybe he's just feeling confident that none of the vultures are out on the map yet. So just try to look for any sort of any hidden vulture, like single vulture hiding at somewhere. Maybe that could be the case, I'm thinking. And now guns are pretty much retreating. Here's a single SAB. He's about to go inside. I don't think. Okay, it is actually held.
I don't think that SCV saw the 3rd base, did it? It came from the left side. Actually, wasn't paying attention, but he definitely wishes he saw that 3rd base.
Well, judging by this, the map how it's drawn for the Fog of War, I think he just checked at 6 o'clock, but there's no expansion was taken. But he didn't get to confirm the mineral expansion yet.
Yeah, so he's unaware. Okay, well, let's see if these vultures can confirm it. And one of them gets by, and that is painful for you Rush fans out there because everybody knows that there's a huge difference between 2 vultures getting into a probe line and just one. So instead of okay, I thought that mine was gonna blow up and take down a bunch of probes. He still gets like 3 probes, but if just one more vulture had gotten in, he could have done catastrophic damage. And this is going to be an Arbor game because we do see the Stargate and Templar Archive have finished.
And we see the +1 on the way for Rush, and he still doesn't have Academy. Okay, here's an Academy follow right now. Rush is making. He really needs to get more intel. None of the Reaper harassment has done yet. Like he saw a shuttle was out, so maybe he was pretty much making an assumption. Oh, Best is gonna play Speed Shuttle, or maybe once again like Speed Shuttle with the Reaper harassment. But it wasn't any of the sort of like a Reaper harassment. None of the Reaper harassment has done. Well, I heard something unloaded.
Yep, I heard something unload too, and we did see Zealots are starting to get pumped out. We saw that the Stargate is blinking, Arbiter is going to be coming out, but Rush, he's still pretty even in supply. He's got his 3rd command center about halfway done. He ended up rushing his upgrades, so he's still in an okay position. 3 base versus 3 base, I mean, it doesn't get much better than that as a Terran player. But here comes another pesky drop. This time around, it's going to be the fantasy style drop. 2 vultures, a single tank. Let's see if it can get let's see if it can position some. Oh my god, the 3rd Nexus is open again, man!
Yeah, I think the goon count seems super low to me. I mean,
And he's in the main.
yeah, I don't see. Oh, he did.
Oh.
He did pick up the dropship, and I don't think the tank was loaded, but somehow the worker count just so low for Best. Maybe he just picked up a lot of probes with the vultures here and there. But now we see Rush is about to take another expansion. He does have a great amount of factory.
3rd base going to be set up. This is the moment in time where Terran is going to expand their factory count too. So you see Rush is only at 90 supply right now, but once he gets like 1 or 2 more factories up, I think it takes about 2 minutes to close like 100 supply or to build up 100 supply off of 8 facts. So this will shoot up to max pretty darn quickly as soon as those factories go up. Good spread on the tanks, good mine placement like the turrets also. I'd like to see him like float an eBay or barracks or something over that high ground, just so he can have vision in case like a bus ends up coming in, because we know Best is one of those players that likes the bus, and with the Arbiter coming out, I think that could be on the menu in just a minute or so.
Yeah,
oh my god, he's doing it again! It's exposed again!
I'm not sure why Best is not even putting any of a pylon wall here. I mean, he could have just put down like some pylons on the right side so vultures can't actually sneak in.
Oh,
the spider mines.
And that mine connects. Okay, well, this is my opinion. If you're going to leave a base exposed like this and bait a Terran player to like just send vultures at you nonstop, I feel like the intention has to be like, okay, you're gonna sack those vultures and I'm gonna instantly counterattack you. But that's not happening. I mean, Best is up 20 supply, he's up 10, or he's down 10 workers, so it's a 30 army lead. Like, a bus could work, but I don't know. Like, he's just been so exposed all day long to this vulture harassment. It's crazy. And there's vultures on the left side looking to get more damage done.
Yeah, this is gonna be a tough time for Best to clear some spider mines because he was rushing for the Arbiter attack and he was lacking with the goon count. And here's another, about like a group vulture. I would say about 10 or 9 vultures. Try to look for some space for more harassment, but Rush needs to be careful.
Well, Best needs to be careful too, because these Terran units have 2-1, and even if Vulture, oh, he catches more probes, transferring to the 3rd base. He's just a shark. He's always lurking and waiting. He's gonna shut down entire mineral line. It went from 48 probes down to 38.
Yeah, this is totally not looking great for Best, and I feel like he's just making way too much about Zealot. Yes, making a bunch of Zealot going for the bus is definitely great with the 200 supply count, but I mean, if you cannot defend the early stage of a harassment like vulture harassment, these number of Gun and Zealot is just not gonna be working so well against Terran, who's already gonna have, okay, not yet, but okay, here's an Arbiter about to sneak in. Luckily, it survives.
Oh my god, I can't believe it survived. And actually, I wouldn't recall. I would just try and bust the third base right now. That's what I would do. Okay, he is going to recall. All the units were out of position. And he is going... Oh, he also has a shuttle there, too. We don't know if there's Storm in there, but... Oh my god, all those goons clumped up, and they're getting busted by these 4 tanks. And this was not a successful recall. Oh, maybe it was like a supply, 170 to 110? What's going on?
I think Rush has lost like more than a group SCV, and also Armory is getting busted. Let me check the upgrade. So yeah, he did get the +2 upgrade on time, so that's definitely a good news. But we have been hearing lots of scan going off and on. So I think Rush is trying to... Okay, he did secure this mineral expansion and 4th expansion.
I did not expect to see Rush down so much supply. He's down 40 supply now, and here comes the bust at the third base. This is what I was actually expecting to see happen, and he is going to deny the 4th command center. Arbiter, I think, will survive, just barely, but this game is starting to get wild. Remember, Rush was up 20 workers a minute ago. Now he's actually down 2 workers. However, Best has not done the greatest job to rebuild up his probe count on 4 Nexus, and this Arbor is actually racking up SCV kills.
That's a funny miracle right now we're seeing. We're finally getting some couple of Goliath here and there, but still no Charon booster yet for the Goliath range. And we see another Vulture harassment. This is some insecure expansion. Yeah, those cannon is not good placement, I would say.
It hurts. Oh man, like you would feel like, okay, well, if Best just put up a pylon wall or like a better cannon placement, he would be running away with this game. But that bust that you saw happen, or the recall what you saw happen, is kind of what I was talking about, is where Protoss lost so many probes, but Terran lost so many vultures. You got to be careful throwing that amount of vultures, because if you get counterattacked, yeah, you did a lot of harassment, but your army count's not going to be as high. So now you can see Rush is kind of paying that cost right there. Now he's stuck on 3 bases and struggling to get a 4th base.
Yeah, that 4th base was taken down by those massive gun earlier. And he does have some amount of Arbiter, maybe 1 or 2 at the moment. Yeah, he does have 2 Arbiter. But this Arbiter is such a dangerously low HP, I don't think he can go for the recall. Maybe he will just use this Arbiter for sort of to double stasis fill whenever the fight ever happens.
And I don't know if I saw an EMP, but yeah, he has double stasis available, and those tanks are mega clumped up. He's not gonna... He doesn't have an observer, so he doesn't know that, so he's just gonna back off for now. But I'm just constantly looking at the probe count from Best. We've been approaching like a minute or so where he hasn't built a single probe, so... Of course he's not all in because he's on 5 bases, but he doesn't have a lot of econ. But he has a massive army. He has like 150 supply in army right now.
Yeah, with that having such a low worker count, I think Best is just gonna have so much of army, maybe like 7 groups of army, and going for the bus momentarily here. I think he's just trying to look for having some great position for the attack move. But we see a single Arbiter is about to go for the recall, I believe.
Another big recall going to be coming in, and Best is maxed out. And we know that Terran's units are completely out of position. Not a lot. Oh, actually, there are a lot of mines set up. No Charon boosters, as you mentioned. That's a great recall. The other Arbiter is going to die too. Actually, that's a great Sim City, and minimal defense, I think, will be able to defend this. Look at this Sim City.
Yeah, those Zealot guns are pretty much blocking the path, and I guess he was just focus targeting on those starport. That's definitely nice, but now the siege tank support will be defending this main base. But what is actually going on? Okay, now once again, some probes just got picked up once again while he was transferring. 7 o'clock expansion is somewhat vulnerable. With this 2-1 upgrade, Vulture should be able to take down this single cannon easily. I think Best is struggling what he should be doing because Rush doesn't have the 4th command center yet.
Yep, and more probes are going to die. He is now down to 30 probes on 5 Nexus. So if we assume 6 probes are mining gas, that means he has a total of 24 probes mining minerals. That's it. And now Best, yeah, he's trying to find the, oh my god, more vultures getting into this exposed third base again. And now he's down below 30 probes.
Yeah, this is definitely gonna hurt Best. He needs to be working on this basic worker production once again. And oh, spider mines did trigger but didn't hit.
Well, all of a sudden, Rush is the one that's up in supply, 170 to 160. He's dealt so much damage, he's feeling confident building up his 4th command center. He's killed like, I don't even know, maybe like 50 probes this game, 60 probes. It's ridiculous. And I think Best has realized that I don't know if he, okay, actually, I thought he was just going to go for the Hail Mary, but instead he's going to turn around and try and save his base again, and that's more probes being taken down at bottom middle.
It is definitely painful to watch, and now Rush is catching up the supply count. 4th command center is halfway done, and look at the number of siege tankers. Just sit there and waiting for. Oh, he did finish that +3 upgrade, so he's definitely gonna be happy with defending any sort of 200 bust, and with that +3, it's pretty much invincible.
Yeah, and it's not like Rush has a lot of SCVs either. It's just 46, but when he's only going to be on 2 base mining, I mean, you really don't need more than 46, so this is a pretty much optimal SCV count. I would have liked to see maybe like 3 more, but that's it, really. Here comes Rush, or here comes Best, setting up for... yeah, he takes a big mine hit. I don't think he can really engage in that army. He's going to have to just sit back. He's finally started to build up his probes. He's at 36, but he's still got a long ways to go.
And now Grun's
oh my gosh,
tank, that is about like I would say about like 3 groups of siege tanks.
Yeah, it's like 30 tanks, and Terran doesn't have to move. Like, so this is going to be an easily secured 4th base.
Yeah, it looks like Rush is about to move out.
Yeah, I think Rush has decided that he's killed enough probes, and that there's a lack of AoE, whether it's Storm or Arbiter, that he can just A-move. I think he literally can just A-move. We'll see if he wants to. But 4th base is down.
Yeah, I'll say this is about like 2 groups of siege tanks to siege, and there's still leftovers. You have 7 tanks, and here are more tanks over here too.
Yeah, he just has so many tanks, and the Protoss army is, I think, just +2 weapons. So these units are going to get massacred. The Zealots denying the 4th base, they're going to get taken down too. And Rush is going to get his 4th base up and running. And this army is untouchable. If there was Storm, if there was 3 or 4 Arbiters, he could win. But just 1, no chance.
Oh, is this
he
recall?
does.
Oh, never mind. That's Stasis shield.
Yeah, Stasis, and it was not exactly the Stasis you were looking for. But he does have more Arbiters. But it's just too many tanks, man. You can't win this fight.
This is also a 0 armor upgrade for Best, but he's trying to go for the fight.
Oh.
But not much of a vulture support. A lot of siege tanks are trying to do some great amount of damage dealt, and those are Zealots are pretty much clutched up and now doing a lot of splash damage.
Yeah. And those stasis, I think, were the best stasis you can get. But you can see Best went down to 110 supply, Rush just down to 150, and he easily wins that fight and takes game 7.
I feel like that game, Best was not paying attention so much about his worker count. Maybe like I guess exchanging the worker count for having more army supply is also definitely a great choice too. But he didn't have any saved up bank.
Yeah, he didn't have a bank, and then there were a lot of times where he lost his probes, and I thought, okay, well, now he's going to counterattack. Okay, now he's going to counterattack. And then he just didn't. But the first recall he did, that did massive amounts of damage. He was up 170 to 110. So nice crisis management from Rush to bring it back, because he was at a huge disadvantage. And as you mentioned, just lacking the probe rebuilding kind of cost Best that game.
Yeah, I think below 40 is not the ideal type. Maybe 40 to 50ish would be an okay choice, but below 30, nah, I don't think so.
Yeah. So score is now 4-3. We are going to be going into Best non-ASL map pick. It is going to be Gladiator. Let's get into game 8. I'm excited, Scan. In the top left, we have our Protoss, its best. And then in the bottom right, setting up a diagonal match, it is Rush. And even though this map is extremely hard to play, I do love it because there's so many resources. It is really a super big time macro map. You want to play a big macro Fiesta game, this is the map you pick. Whether it's Terran versus Zerg, Terran versus Protoss, it doesn't matter. If you're playing a high caliber player, it will turn into a slugfest.
I kind of find the 5 o'clock gladiator location has better mining path than 11 o'clock because those top 2 minerals seem super far away from the nexus from what I see.
Yeah, I guess now that you mention it, it does seem to be a bit better, but back then, when Gladiator was in the map pool, that is not something that I was really thinking about much. Now, one thing I want to say is, I have not seen Best go for forward gate all game, or all series long. Is Best somebody that just doesn't like the forward gate? Ever?
I honestly don't watch much of a Best's play, so I don't know either, but I heard he used to like doing zealot regression before any sort of a gun follow-up. He likes to do it, but maybe things wasn't working out so well for him. Maybe it doesn't fit to his playstyle. Maybe that could be the reason he's not doing it so much, but this time he's gonna be doing once again the similar play just like a couple of games ago. A simulator follow-up.
Yep, typical opener for Best. Now, Gladiator is one of the maps that Zealot Pressure is pretty strong because of the reverse ramp. And that means that SCVs have a harder time dealing with it with the Marines in the back. This time around, I think this might be the first game we see Best not get a first scout off. He's going to not find Rush at bottom left. And you were talking about the 12 versus 13 scout timing from Terran players these days. This time around, no scout at all until after the barracks is done.
Well, that's something new. Maybe Rush is just wants to have this having more of an econ advantage. Look at this, how fast the 17 factory is. Since he wasn't doing the 13 scout, he was doing the 15 scout after the barrack finishes. He was able to get the 17 factory at 2 minutes 30 seconds. So that's more than maybe like 5 seconds to 8 seconds faster than the regular 17 factory. And this is a cross scout what we are right now seeing from Rush.
Yeah, and I actually really like this scout pattern, or this strategy from Rush, because something that I noticed from Best so far is every game after 12 Nexus, he does not go for it again. He has not gone for 12 Nexus twice in a row, ever. So if you don't have to worry about 12 Nexus, I think you can delay the scouting for quite a while. And that's going to allow that 230 factory, which is 5 to 6 seconds faster than normal. So this is a great opener from Rush, and this Zealot is going to do nothing.
Yeah, I will do nothing, I just say. Once again, the machine shop follow. Interestingly, he's not doing the vulture into an expansion. I guess he kind of likes to do 3 Marine bunker into an expansion, where this used to be so classic in Neo Sylphid. When the Neo Sylphid came out, everyone used to do this 3 Marine bunker into an expansion with the add-on follow-up, and this is what we're right now seeing. And Rush is pulling some SCV to the top side. Is this going to be a starport follow-up?
Ooh, starport follow-up with the add-on. Have to point out, though, he has cut his 26 depot. And, okay, now there's the 26 depot. So he's focusing more on his tech and actually going to go into mines. And if I was to play this on ladder, I think this is not exactly going to be a successful move. But he kept the goon, or something I've noticed with Best here is he hasn't pressured the bunker like ever. He's just consistently kept the goon back. So I think particularly versus Best, this is another great opener.
I think I kind of like this decision making from Rush, because Rush didn't do regular 13 scout, he did 15 scout, and he saw all the 7 score was spinning. He was getting all the intel. He didn't get any but sort of a Zealot harassment done. He didn't take any damage, and he was getting the command center super fast with the cutting some of the 3rd depot timing into a starport follow-up. And also he didn't make a single C-stain. He just literally went for the Spider-Man research into vulture speed already. So I would say this vulture drop is really, really fast. I mean, control tower finishes at 5-minute mark. Dropship should be popping out like about 5-minute 30-ish. And that's the time. Observer should be popping out at the same time. And I don't think he will see the dropship on time.
Yeah, I don't think that Best is going to be expecting this at all. Also, Rush hasn't shown the vultures either, so it could have been tank opener, it could have been anything.
Oh.
But we do have to say that Best has been on top of drops all day long, at least putting goons in position. So I think he will actually have defense set up. But if you look at the main, I mean, Gladiator's main is huge. It's wide open. There's so many angles to drop from. And there is that dropship. It is going to not be intercepted by the observer.
Here's something that I've just noticed. This is not a 2-gate op, this is a 3-gate op. Like the super classic. I heard 3-gate op is a direct counter of a vulture drop play style, because the goon count is really, really high and you can actually bust the natural whenever you want. But I'm not sure how it's going to be working out so well against this guy, this kind of spawning location where it's a cross spawn. Okay, here is the 4 vulture drop, but the speed is now done.
Yep, speed is done into the mineral line, but goons are set up, but he's getting a lot of probe kills. 4, as you mentioned. Can he get 5? 6? Okay, this is a lot of damage, but as you stated, can he bust the net? I think the answer is no, because siege mode should be done momentarily.
Yep, Yamtube or Rush is definitely aware of the goon counterattack. He had these 3 SCB sitting near the bunker line, so he can repair it immediately here. Okay, now the siege mode upgrade finishes, adding up more of a factory here. Armory is also going up.
Yep, so we've got 3 factories coming in. This is simply to catch up in units, because of course Protoss has those 3 gates, something like, you know, a shuttle bomb or whatever. It could easily take down a low factory count Terran player. Behind this we see that 3rd Nexus is coming down. Everything pretty normal. The question for me now is, what does Rush do with this? Is he going to go into 5 fact? Is he going to go into 6 fact? Is he going to expand? Because I mean, he killed 7 probes. That's a lot of damage.
I kind of like how he literally skipped the eBay and immediately went for the academy. With the vulture drop, he immediately got all the intel. Observer, okay, and he also confirmed how many gateway. And if you ever see 3-gate op, you don't do 3-gate op into Reaver. This is not PvP. You don't go 3-gate goon into Reaver follow-up. So I like how he's excluding all those possibility, skipping all the eBay for getting more of a factory, relatively faster timing than regular standard timing here right now. So I like this move.
Yeah, I see that the dropship is still alive on the left side of the map, and I mean, that could come into play. Vultures are up or are out and in the center of the map laying mines. And I noticed that there's a lack of defense in the main now. For Best, okay, this time around, good reaction. Vultures don't get into the natural.
Here's something I find funny. The mineral expansion is going to be exposed again.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I was like, man, I mean, you can't even block it. Like, this is just one of those maps where you can't block it. But, yeah, that could come into play. Ooh, that time around. Oh, there's the vultures that I was talking about. Now, luckily, Best has goons set up into position, and this dropship is already at 110. No, he moved out of position. Okay. Rush instant reaction does save the dropship.
Finally adding an eBay. So I guess having all this factory count up into an eBay follow. So this is the optimal play of how Rush is right now playing, because he kind of needs to get some missile threat, so he can pretty much push those observer away, and he has more space to send out the vulture. And now I think this is slowly moving into the mid-game transition, and we see Arbiter follow-up.
I gotta say, this feels a bit oh no, into the 3rd base again. He's gonna take down 3 probes, 4 probes, 5 probes. We're now up over 6 probes from downtown Steph Curry Vulture. And is that dropship going to the top right also? He's everywhere. So I was going to say, this feels ambitious, because remember, it was a 3-gate opener. That means Protoss is building a lot of goons in the beginning. Then he lost 7 probes. Now he lost 6 more probes while taking a 3rd Nexus and also teching into Arbiter pretty darn fast. Luckily, I think for Best, this is not a 7-fact bust. It is a third command center, but I think he could have gotten run over. Meanwhile, that drop is in the main now. And the natural.
What is that cannon placement, what I'm seeing? That doesn't seem like the optimal cannon placement, I would say. And now the vultures will be sneaking and picking up more of a probe. The probe count went down to 43. I hear something more of a cannon shot going on here. Oh, so he was picking up some probes at the mineral line too. So that's like 3 different locations hitting.
Yes. Rush is literally everywhere. Actually just everywhere with these vultures. I cannot even begin to tell you how hard this is to do as Terran, while also macroing. Like, this is insane play. This is actually what I think is the ideal way to play Terran, but it's just so hard to do. I wish I could play like this. And, I mean, even though Best lost 12 probes or whatever it is, I mean, he's still in the running for this game. He's even in supply. He's got 4 bases. He's got that heavy tech with Arbiters. He's doing pretty darn well. Oh no, more probes gonna get intercepted by the vultures.
Oh, those vultures are so fast and picking up a lot of probes. I think Best needs to have some optimal goon position to cut off some vulture, but the vulture once again sneaks in. Still no cannon at the natural. It's slowly going down to 40, or maybe even lower than 40. Maybe spider mines will trigger.
Crazy amounts of damage. What did he go from 50 down to 38? And he was building out of all of his nexus. So he got like 15 probes there. Look at this. He's queuing up multiple probes at each location. We haven't seen an Arbiter out just yet. Meanwhile, Rush is just continuing to send more vultures everywhere. I mean, Observer isn't even in position, I don't think. So he's going to get a couple more probe kills here too. There goes 2 of them.
Wow, another 3. Another one. So that's total 3.
I do have to say, though, is that Protoss has lost like 30 probes, but he's only down 10 workers. So YamTube, SCV production could have been a little bit better, but other than that, the harassment in macro has been pretty fantastic. Got a vessel out too. He's got his upgrades.
Yeah, so far everything looking so great for Rush. And I'm not sure why Best is not doing the carrier build. We have seen his carrier build for like the early of first set or third set. Was game number 2 and game number 3, but he was using those carriers so well. But I guess he's not showing his carrier for some reason.
Well, an Observer just sacrificed itself in the backside of the base, and you know Rush is aware of that. Instantly sets up a ton of mines. He's got EMP almost done. Actually should have it in time for recall. Best has done a good job to catch up in probe count. He's up 3 workers now. He's got a 5th base coming up. Surprisingly, despite Protoss having no map control at all, there is no 4th command center, I don't think, for Rush. So he's still just on 3 bases. Mineral only is only has 6 patches, right? Yeah, so not the most efficient mining there either. He does need to start thinking about getting that mid-right base.
I think he's trying to try to have some territory and slowly have some better siege tank position. And normally whenever you're going for 4th command center, you kind of want to stay on 7 factory, but he went up to 8 factory count. So he's just going to be focusing on making more of an army count before taking another expansion. And once again, he's rotating the mass vulture.
Yep, and this time there's no goons, so Zealots are going to just get shredded by these vultures. There was luckily no mine set up behind, because those goons on the left side didn't have a single observer. They easily could have just run into death, and these vultures are going to get cornered. I don't know if this trade was really worth for Protoss or for Terran, because he's going to really just get like 4 or 5 pros but lose 12 vultures.
Well, I think sacrificing those 12 vultures is still okay for Rush, because he's still up on supply. Same supply, nearly the same supply count, and he has been pretty much staying on this 3 base for a long time and preparing for this 3-2 upgrade on the way. I still don't see any other. Okay, I think this is a SCV or is about to put down the 3rd command center momentarily, and now he's slowly getting this territory, high ground siege tank with the missile turret and a lot of spider mines on the way.
Oh, here we go. Is this going to be? No. I think it would be risky to try and bust into Terran on high ground when they're about to have 3-2. Vessel has full energy, I think. And be ambitious to go for that move. Oh, actually, yeah, there's the Vessel. Oh, that was surprisingly low. Only 110. Maybe he EMP'd and I missed it. Regardless, he has double Vessel, double EMP available. And that 4th command center is being built, but we see Best is getting up his 6th base at bottom right. 5th base is actually already up and running. And Recall Man coming into... Is it going to be the main, or is it going to be that 4th base? Looks like a 4th base.
I'm not sure. Recalling at the 4th base is... Oh, he canceled this. And I like how he just brought the 9 goons. And I guess it just kind of forced Rush to cancel the command center. So I guess this army is pretty much got trapped over here. Maybe leaving 2 or 3 tanks should be more than enough. Maybe Rush can actually go for the counterattack here, I'll say.
Yeah, that's like 20 supply. That's just useless pretty much. You leave like 1 tank and a handful of vultures and mines, and they can never escape. I would really like that counterattack. There it is. Here we go. So we're gonna have a counterattack. Remember, these vessels have good energy too, and that's an arbiter that doesn't have energy now. So you gotta take that out of the equation too. 1 single stasis available for Protoss. This is gonna be extremely tough to hold.
Yeah, Rush is literally bringing all of his army. He's almost nearly maxed out. 190 supply. Slowly moving out, but this terrain doesn't seem so Terran favor, I would say. This center terrain is pretty much delaying this push somewhat here and now. Goons are pretty much buying some time. Okay, trying to dodge the stasis field. That was a nice one.
Yeah, he dodged it and he clobbered a couple of goons at the bottom side. You can see Rush has accepted that mid-right's going to be denied and instead is taking bottom middle. Actually, a lot of the Protoss units have gotten to the bottom side of the map. He's going to go for a backstab, but the comp is almost pure Zealot. There's like 2 goons, 2 arbiters, and that's it. But not a lot of defense for Rush because he's slowly pushing across the map.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this counter push because it's most likely a pure... ooh, another... Okay, that was a nice EMP shot.
Yeah, and he hits a lot of the Zealots too. And Rush is going to turn around some of his army to try and clean up these Zealots. He didn't really kill any bases, so for now, Best is still on 6 base. He still kept Terran down to just 3 base, but really it's just 2 base because Main and Natural are about to be mined out, and this 4th base is only just now completing.
And you see that 3-2 upgrade just now complete, and now this 9 guns, I think it was trying to leave the base, leave this base, but it didn't work out so well. And I think Rush is just absolutely beast in this game. 3-2 just got kicked in. 4th command center just finishes. Okay, here's a single arbiter. Got picked up for free.
It got EMP'd, I guess, because it only had 7 energy, so nicely done. But I still think Best is in this game. He's going to try and attack this 3rd base. Like, Rush is almost out of money, man. Like, Best still has 3 bases up and running. Yes, I realize Terran's army is huge, but actually he's got maybe like 10 to 15 supply locked up in his factories right now.
I have a feeling Rush made way too many factories when he just stayed on 3 bases. I mean, he can't really queue up those factories, and he's just out of money too. He's not saturating this 4th command center. The 3rd command center just got taken down by the mass goon. Okay, now here's a massive amount of C-Sync going for the counterattack. What will he be able to earn?
Yeah, I mean, the Natural's basically mined out. The 3rd base, maybe not mined out, but it wasn't exactly the most important base. And now Protoss has turned around and is going to sync up with the rest of his army. And he has a 45 supply lead. However, most of it's in the workers. So he's still got to be careful to not engage unfavorably. But yeah, Rush is struggling for money right now. Meanwhile, Best is at 2K, 1K.
It looks like Best is just absolutely doing great, saturating multiple expansion and making a lot of Zealots. But Best has a lot of money. I think he's just trying to keep up that natural expansion. Maybe going for the counterattack and just constantly make Rush poor. Because he just... Yeah, I mean, Rush has nothing besides this mass tank.
I feel like we're getting into that Ascension game again because Best is going to lose his main. And you said Best was doing a good job keeping up with his probe production and macro, but here we are again. We're at 37 probes. Main's about to be dead. And, I mean, Terran's army is still scary.
Ooh, nice stasis field. Maybe after using the stasis field, maybe he just might gonna be running over to this cheese tank line, but with this terrain, I'm not sure whether this is a nice stasis field, I would say.
Arbiter's gonna die to a single Goliath. Now, the problem here is, okay, it feels like Terran can't reinforce, but at the same time, I didn't realize that's how many tanks he has sitting outside that base. So it looks like Protoss has decided there's too many tanks here. He's just going to go for another counterattack.
Yeah, 4 siege tanks.
Only 4 tanks.
Nice shots on the rolls too, and then also some Goliaths are also supporting here.
Oh, I mean, Terran doesn't have that much, but I think he can defend.
Yeah, Rush has a floating command center, but I think he totally forgot about it.
Yeah, there's too much going on that he did forget about it. Protoss has to be careful. Like, I still think Protoss... Well, I don't know anymore. I actually don't know anymore, because Protoss is about to lose their Stargate, which means he's going to lose Arbiters, and there's only 2 out in the map.
Ooh.
Okay. I don't know where those units came from, but now I'm confident that this game is done. There's just too much stuff into Rush's main. He's going to start losing factories now.
Yeah, that factory SimCity doesn't seem too great. Units just somehow got stuck over here because of the missile turret here. And now, yeah, Best has a lot of saved up bank, and if he just macros from this another spawning location, building lots of gateway here, he should be feeling confident. Stargate is still not taking down a single arbiter at a time. He does manage to secure this main base, but no money left.
Yeah, 9 SCVs for Mr. Rush. Tanks are moving into position to take down bottom left. This game, another wild game. Both players really slugging it out today in our series. That is a lot of tanks. Can he win? I mean, I realize Best is up 60 supply, but 30 of it's in workers, and these are tanks.
I'm not sure. Well, when we look at the upgrade, it's definitely great, but just pure siege tank, and okay, so pure goons too. Only 4's out, pretty much supporting this fight. Here's the one single vessel.
D-Matrix.
Ooh.
Oh my. Scan, what am I watching?
I think Best is lacking with Mass Zealot. He needs Zealot. Oh, ooh, he has a single pro still alive at the 11 o'clock main.
He does. Actually, you know what I want to see Best make is I want to see him... Oh, I was going to say build a scout. But there's 2 Goliaths left over.
Yeah, somehow, Rush is efficiently trading this fight so well. Winning this fight. Picking up this probe. And now... Yeah, Best really needs to make massive amount of a Zealot. And he also has this base still running at that 9 o'clock side. But that's still leaking. Oh, okay, he just morphed on another Nexus over here.
Yeah, and Rush is not mining at all. Like, zilch. Not mining gas. He's not mining minerals. He has 9 SCVs. I don't even know where the 9 SCVs are. One of them stuck right there. And this is his entire standing army. It's just 45. He's got a lot of tanks. He's got a single vessel. He's got 2 Goliaths. Okay, this might have been what Best needed. All the tanks on the low ground now.
I think he can just use one nice stasis field on the Sculpts up 6 tank and try to eat. Yeah, that's what he's gonna be doing. He's just gonna be eating up all those remaining leftover siege tank. 4 tanks, that's a piece of cake for him.
GG. What another wild game, and that means Best does win the series. He's got his 5th win, but nice attempt from Rush. I thought he had it. I thought his army was too strong, but in the end, Best, he was able to keep up with the Vulture harassment this time and ends up taking the victory.
I feel like Rush made way too many factories with 3 base saturation. And you know, back then, like when a lot of people used to play on Fighting Spirit, we usually get to see like 3 base, 9 factory with 2-1 upgrade. Yes, that's correct. But Fighting Spirit with a 3 base, that 3rd base has total 9 mineral fields plus Vespin Geyser. That's a different story compared to this Gladiator where you're just mining a 6 mineral field at the third base. So you're not gonna be able to run all those 9 factories, but I feel like he just had way too many factories there.
Yeah, it might have been the case, but I mean, his army was just super strong all game long. I think really the downfall for him was just not able to get that 4th base ever. I really liked the vulture harassment. I liked the macro. I liked the upgrades. I liked everything. Just in the end, not enough money. But this is going to set us up for our last game of the day, guys. It's going to be on the 2-player map that everybody knows and loves. They never veto it. It's going to be Eclipse. So let's see if Best can win 6-3, or if Rush can bring it as close as it can possibly be at 5-4. Okay, our final game of the day. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a great TVP. And in the top right, our orange Terran. It is Rush. Meanwhile, bottom left, our Protoss. He's won it. It is Best. This time, I want to see the forward gate. I mean, out of all the maps, this is the map where it's most successful. Or I want to see Proxy Gate. I think Proxy Gate has come and gone because Probe's not out. But we still got potential for a forward gate. No 12 Nexus. I've seen enough 12 Nexus. Let's see something else.
Well, Best has been leading the score 5-3, so he should be feeling confident. He already won the series, but let's see what he's gonna be doing. Is this gonna be a forward pylon? It looks like it. Oh yes, it is.
There we go. So finally, he was just waiting for the perfect map for it, and Eclipse is definitely one of those maps. Well, I guess, yeah, it should be forward gate, but we've got that fast scouting probe. And we'll see how Rush wants to react versus this. Some players go for the 10 gas. Some people just let it happen. If you're Artosis, you cancel your SCV and still get it stolen. So we'll see what Rush wants to do here. And that is the forward gate at the low ground.
Lower ground forward gateway into most likely it's gonna be gas steal. And I think Rush is just gonna let Best to take it. A lot of templates has been working on this 2-player map versus Protoss, doing like forward gateway or proxy gateway, 12 Nexus, and always go for the gas steal. If you're cutting your SCV production, go for the gas. You're losing all those SCV production anyways, and you know Protoss is always gonna be forcing you to pull multiple SCV to fight against a single pro plasma.
Yeah, I let it just build every single time. And we see that that's exactly what's happened here. Meanwhile, I was a little bit surprised to see this scouting from Rush. He didn't scout for Proxy at all. Instead, he just went straight across the map. And he will see that it is a forward gate. Now, meanwhile, in Best Main, there's no gas at all. So we may see a Nexus follow-up, potentially. First Zealot is out on the map, and we've got a second one coming in tow. There you go. Yeah, bunker going down.
I like how Rush is immediately putting on the bunker here. Because if those Zealot is just pretty much drawing all this intention. Ooh,
eBay.
So that's a nice eBay Rush.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Now, I personally like this when I see Protoss players pull like 5 probes. I'm like, all right, well, this is way worth. Because you're only going to lose like 30 minerals. And meanwhile, you know Protoss lost like probably close to 70, 80 at least. Meanwhile, Zealot doesn't care about a single Marine in the bunker. They're just going to walk by.
I think we'll just walk out.
Yeah, that's just what Zealots do. And you can see that he almost lost no health also. So just Protoss things. Now, meanwhile, that assimilator is going to fall. And actually, the gas timing for Terran is not going to be that far behind Protoss's.
Yeah,
so this
perfect.
is not... Yeah, it's not a bad situation for Terran right now.
So that's an optimal Marine production. Rush right now has every single one Zala you gotta have at least 3, so that's the magic number, and he does have 3 Marines to deal with the single Zala earlier, so that's why Rush, Best wasn't taking off any risk trying to do some damage at the main base when he just walked inside of Rush's main base with a single Zala. So now I'm seeing, I saw he was making the second Zala production, but I guess he cancelled it.
Yeah, he did cancel it, and now he's building another one. I mean, that's a bit strange, especially since his goon just finished, but I mean, maybe he wants to try and take down that bunker or run by or something. We see that range is coming in, of course. Most likely going to see Robo. Now, I expect to see second factory come down for a rush, try and catch back up in units.
I like how Rush is drawing all this attention at the main base and constantly getting all this intel. Are you building 2 gateway into Gun Robo? Are you building 2 gateway into Gun range? Or are you doing 2 gateway into Robo? Are you doing 2 gateway to no range into Robo? But I guess this is a 1 gateway Robo, 1 gateway range upgrade into. I didn't follow up.
Yeah, and actually this is what I was hoping to see, but because the SCV was in the base for so long, I didn't think he would go for this much of a delayed Citadel. I was hoping that the SCV gets picked off and he just instantly goes into the Citadel. So this will be an interesting follow-up. Of course, Rush is expecting this to be, you know, the Robo. So this will be cool to see how effective this fast or delayed DT is going to be. We see that third Nexus is going to be coming down momentarily, and this is going to be DT. It's not going to be Arbiter because we don't see the Stargate.
Yeah, we see Best is just working on this optimization, and we see Armory follow up for Rush, but no Academy.
Yeah, no Academy, no eBay. I mean, if you think back to previous games, there were some games where Rush didn't have an Academy for even 10 minutes. So I think this is a nice mind game here from Best. Okay, so there's the Academy, but the Templar Archive's already done. So we may have another mini versus Royal scenario where DT's just walking to the base and there's just no detection.
But I think it might be still okay for Rush because he did go for Vulture production into Spider-Man research on the way. So even though how late the Academy is, I think those couple of Spider-Man should be buying some time. And okay, now 1 Vulture will be sneaking out with the Spider-Man research just now completes.
Yep, Spider Mines are done. He's setting them up in just random spots. Now that's a Stargate and more gateways. Yeah, Stargate and a couple more gateways. So pretty cool follow-up. It is going to be DTs initially, and then Arbiters with a third base behind this. Academy is done. Comsets desperately need to get added on because there are mines set up, but not really in the pathway of the DTs. One triggered. I saw 1 mine trigger.
Yeah, that 1 mine trigger, I think Rush caught that DT was incoming. Or maybe he wasn't. Maybe he's not paying attention. I think he didn't see that the DT was coming. Oh, the DT is just gonna be start. Maybe slicing some of the Siege tank one by one. But I guess none of the Siege tank got picked up. So this is a good sign.
Yeah, I think he's going to save both, actually. Oh, he does save both. And only 1 DT gets into the main. So this is not a bad scenario for Terran at all. Workers are pretty much even. He's got his upgrades going, almost halfway done, actually. And 2 DTs end up only killing 2 SCVs. I mean, that's pretty much the dream.
But is he okay to defend this? Oh, that didn't even trigger.
Okay, well, he just used both his scans. Now it's going to get ugly! No! Oh my gosh, it killed like 10 SCVs!
Okay, so...
well, it's not the dream anymore. The nightmare.
I think this is just going to trigger Rush to play maybe like completely turtle playstyle. I mean, if you lose that many of SCV against DT play, you cannot move out at all. You just have to sit and wait until Protoss makes a mistake. And you gotta keep up, somehow make some comeback. Okay, here's the Vulture. Does finishing up hit to kill the DT, but
well,
He's down of a 20 worker count.
Well, he may not, or he might. Well, he said he's not going to move out, but this is a 6 factory follow-up, so I think we are just going to go for it. There's no science facility either, so all this did was trigger the all-in attack from Rush right here. He's down 24 workers, but only down 12 supply, so he actually has army advantage. However, once that Arbiter comes out, that's going to be a big-time difference maker. The Zealots cannot get on top of these mines.
Oh, SCVs again.
Yeah, SCV dies, but does not trigger and kill any of the tanks, which is the key part of this army. Oh my god, he's sitting directly on a mine right now. Oh, I just remembered he doesn't have some observers.
Yeah, he doesn't have any observer. He just went for three base into super fast Arbiter follow-up with the DT after the DT harassment. And now there's a 1 scanner we just heard, but the Arbiter Coke is doing some great job here. Goon does trigger and pick up some nice 3 Goon. Most of the guns are pretty much dangerously low HP. They cannot actually dive yet. And now those Marines are pretty much doing the free damage to the Arbiter.
Yeah, the Marines actually dealt almost 200 points of damage to that Arbiter, but we, or Terran, may just be out of scans now. Look at these Vultures trying to set up a wall so he can get up those turrets in time. He needs 40 more seconds for the scan. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that turret actually survives. And the Arbiter dies!
Oh,
and
wow.
Actually, Bess is in trouble. There's 5 tanks. Okay, never mind. He just eliminates almost all the Vultures. That hurts big time.
This seems like a desperate move of how Rush wants to end the game here. Well, he did kill the Arbiter, so that's a good sign. None of the recall is going to be happening maybe next 5 minutes or so. So Rush is just going to be constantly containing the natural. This is just pure Zealot man. That's not a big deal. He does already have the +1 attack. And this Mass Vulture will be buying some time with the Spider Mine. Okay, yeah. He does have some guns are out, but...
I think I think Rush might have won. And the reason I say that is, if you look at the third base, it's not mining gas. So it's hard for him to build Arbiters and Goons. And he's just stuck with building almost pure Zealots.
Wow, okay, so this is a nice Zealot drill on those Spider Minefield. Does pick up 1 SCV. And now Rush should be feeling confident that he's slowly getting this natural getting contained, so he should be working on this SCV production. And look at the worker count, 39 again. So he's back. Yeah, he's back in the game.
Yeah, he's actually transitioning this into the mid game. Like, he can actually start taking a third base. Tanks are going to branch off, and there is no defense. I'm actually shocked there's a cannon there, just based on the games today from Best, not building almost any defense versus these Vultures. And that's going to be a dead Nexus. Yeah, but he just focuses down this Nexus. Meanwhile, let the Vultures eat up the probes. Wow, those probes did more damage than I thought. Actually killed 2 tanks? I can't believe it. He's going to kill a 3rd tank? What?
Okay, that's interesting.
I was not expecting that.
Well, I guess the Vultures will be just pretty much focused targeting on this pylon. Photon cannon is also going up. Best. I think he might need to build another double pylon here. That's good.
Okay, well, all these Vultures moving to the third base mean that they are not in position to help defend the natural. I'd actually like to see like depot wall get set up there, because we don't even know if Best has a recall or stasis or what it is. Can he? Okay, he does have recall, so that is how he's going to actually get out of his base.
I kind of find that recall image seems so like putting less effort of making that image. Well, that's just my opinion.
15 seconds away from recall. There are 2 Goliaths there, but they're not in range. Oh, this would be heartbreaking if that Arbiter dies.
Oh. Okay, he's about to recall.
Oh, that's impeccable timing. Just barely in the nick of time. And, okay, he's going to move all of his units to the third base now. There's not a lot of mines there anymore, but now that's a lot of tanks. And they're just funneling on that ramp.
Yeah, those
Arbiter.
Goliaths are pretty much doing the damage to the Arbiter.
Yeah, the Arbiter is like 2 shots from dying. Okay, you got to be careful with these tanks, though. Not overextend. Goodbye, Arbiter. And supplies are still 20 in favor of Best, but like I said, he is pretty much gas starved. Actually, he's going to be mined out in his main, too.
Yeah, even though when the supply count, when we look at it, it looks okay for the Best, but Best cannot really move out. Like, he just kind of stuck at this. He's natural, he can't actually mine because of there's a single siege tank with a bunch of spider mines laid. Okay, here's the second Arbiter. Does have enough energy for maybe one stage foot, but I'm not sure whether this is okay to stop this army, but oh
my gosh. I can't believe that. Oh, 3 wraiths! Was not expecting that. And you know Bess is not going to be expecting that either. This Arbiter is not long for this world. He's not going to have Arbiter recall in time, I don't think. Well, it doesn't matter now. Third Nexus is gone. Main is basically mined out. All he can really go for is for recall, counterattack, but Wraith's intercepted and he needs 5 more energy.
Oh, he was wasted energy. Instead of going for recall, he just had to use the stasis field on time. But I think single Goliath is still alive.
He's looking for that Arbiter. He finds him. Can he kill it? So tanky, so tanky. Oh my gosh, just barely survives. Now Bess is gonna bust out. But Rush on top of it instantly repositions his entire army. And what looked like a great position for Bess with the DT killing 10 SCVs. All of a sudden, he's just out of steam.
Wow, Bess taps out because he couldn't keep up. No mining, no mineral left over. And that's I cannot believe that counterattack with that number of low worker count by Rush was actually working out so well.
Yeah, I also can't believe it. I mean, when I saw the worker count at 37, I was like, well, you can still build actually a lot of stuff off of 37 SCVs, but I was also thinking similar to you where, okay, he's just going to camp it out. So a surprising move from Rush makes it work, though. And unfortunately, just a bit of unluckiness on Best, like 5 seconds away from having recall, or 10 seconds actually, and then he could have saved his third base. But in the end, Best still wins the series 5-4. But Rush had a nice comeback right there. I'm glad to see that the score ended up being 5-4.
I think if Rush studies more of how to deal with against Carrier, maybe Rush could have had better win rate against Best. But this is still a close score to each other, 5-4. I like this series.
Yeah, this might have been the best series, I think, that we've seen in all the Ultimate Battles. They were really close. As you mentioned, Rush kind of seemed off versus the Carriers. But, I mean, everything else was beautiful. The Vulture harassment was great. The macro was great. I mean, Best played well also. His Ascension game with the shuttles was great. So it was an exciting series. I'm glad that we got to cast it. But that is going to be the last of our 4-week Ultimate Battle series, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We may have more in the future. I'm not sure just yet what Cruiser has organized. But in the meantime, definitely check out ASL. It's actually going to be tonight, and then we've got on Tuesday. But you have any other last words, Scan?
Well, I guess it actually paid him off, like how Best got knocked out by Rush in a wild card from the last season, and now he's just showing how strong he is nowadays and beating Rush 5-4. So I think Rush still needs to be working on those playing against Carrier playstyle. So that was a great series, I would say.
Well, yeah, it was a great series, and I'm sure he will work on it in the future. But that's going to wrap us up, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you sometime in the near future. Thank you so much for watching on StarCast TV.